Good evening. We come on the air with heavy hearts tonight as we mourn the passing of Patrick Connaughton, father of WSJP's Ryan Connaughton, class of 2027. In the coming days and always, we will keep the Connaughton family in our thoughts and prayers. We ask that you now join us in a moment of silence in Mr. Connaughton's memory. Thank you. Now, for the first time this fall, the Hawks are back on home soil and under the bright lights of Philadelphia. After starting 0-2 for the first time since 2007, the Prep has their biggest test of the year as they face St. Francis of Maryland, the number 4 team in the nation. This is the night we have waited for so long. The Prep is hosting a national powerhouse, and we could not be more excited. Good evening, folks, and welcome to historic Franklin Field on the campus of Penn as we get you set for St. Joe's Prep football against St. Francis Academy this evening. I'm Anthony Sorgi alongside Dom Campanero and AJ Farrington here in the booth. Gentlemen, how are we tonight?
I can't say anything more. We're here at historic Franklin Field. We see Comcast Technology Building, everything in the skyline of the city you brotherly love. We can't ask for anything more.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with that. I'm feeling really good. Really excited to be here. I think this could be a huge game and a huge turning point, if you will, for the Prep this year.
Guys, let's get right into it. St. Joe's Prep, your Hawks, starting 0-2 for the first time since 2007. That is 18 years. A dramatic collapse against American Heritage in the opener started off the season, and then the worst deficit since 2015 in a 45-17 loss against DeMatha Labor Day weekend. Let's start with you, Dom. The first 2 weeks have been anything but pretty. What has gone wrong for the Hawks thus far this season?
So, Anthony, we're always looking at, is it offense, is it defense? What's the issue here? And it tends to be the both this season for the Hawks. We'll go through the games that we talked about. American Heritage, Hawks obviously jumped out to a 28-point lead in the game. Obviously, not the result they wanted. They lose 31-28 on the game-winning field goal. Now, we talk about DeMatha, another dominant team out of Maryland. It's been a theme this season. They will play multiple teams from Maryland. Not the result that a lot of people expected. 10-3 at the half, and then DeMatha just turns it on and just goes for absolute abomination in a sense. But, just a lot going on in that note. Obviously, could it have been a lack of discipline? Could that have been the issue? That's just maybe a thing. Someone's got to step up, obviously, show themselves as a leader. We did see how good the offense can be at 2-minute drill throughout the DeMatha game, which really bolstered the team. That was definitely a factor in there. The run game, though, obviously exceptional to say the least, but just overall a lot going on, a lot of variables that have resulted in this 0-2 victory, and they're looking to go for the first victory tonight, Anthony.
Absolutely, Dom. AJ, going to you. Hawks facing St. Francis. The first time since 2018 these two teams have squared off. What will it take tonight for the Prep to keep this one competitive?
Yeah, Anthony, I think it's just going to take the Prep to be the Prep that they can be, right? Especially, Dom talked about that first half against American Heritage. If they're that Prep, they can beat anyone. I think that's just the fact of the matter. It's just about staying consistent and avoiding the second half. I don't know if I want to use the word collapse necessarily, but I think just staying consistent throughout the game, right? We've seen them come out of the gate and be really, really strong, especially on both sides of the ball. Really defensively has been even more so impressive, I would say, than offensively. It's just about sustaining that, and if we're able to sustain that, if they are, rather, I think that's what you need. So it is a good sign if you're a St. Joe's Prep fan that you know that this team has that ability, right? They can do that. So I think that's just what's going to be.
And let's go now to the Panthers of St. Francis out of Baltimore, Maryland. A 42-13 win down there in Broward County over Shaman Amadana to open up the year the day after St. Joe's Prep played against American Heritage, that game was. And then they headed out to California after a bye week. This past weekend, they played St. John Bosco, the number 2 team in the nation, losing 21-14. St. Francis, absolutely elite. We'll get into the X's and O's momentarily, but Dom, what should we expect from the Panthers tonight?
Well, thank you, Anthony. Obviously, nothing short of an overhaul, to say the least. They bring toughness, they bring grit, and they bring power from the heart of Baltimore. You know, this could be the most talented defensive team we've ever seen, honestly. You know, just a powerhouse of not only Baltimore and Maryland, but the Northeast in general. Something to note there. This is a run-first offense. We'll get to talk about the running backs, obviously the players later, but you're going to see Messiah Almerium, the head coach of this Panthers team. A lot of run games, and it's something that's built. They're designed. They've been designed since they've started, and obviously that's going to be a huge factor into how they can go through that overhaul. Blitzing. Let's talk about defense real quick. Not a predominant strategy to say that. You know, this team still shines, obviously. A lot of turnovers and big defensive plays are a result of man-to-man coverage. But, you know, you don't see a lot of blitzes by any defensive players. But the emphasis is on this team's adaptability to counter change. And I bet we'll see that as the game progresses.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt there, Dom. Let's go to the Panthers quarterback, Denari Hill. AJ, your thoughts on the Syracuse-Offord Field General?
Yeah, like you mentioned, Anthony, biggest offer that jumps out at you right off the page is that Syracuse offer. You know, he also has Sacramento State, UMass, to name a couple more. You know, we've seen on multiple occasions his ability to, you know, fit balls into tight windows, kind of throw his guys open and throw on time. It's a term that we hear a lot used about the upper echelon of quarterbacks, able to get their guys open and fit in those tight windows, because against these big teams that they're playing, you're not going to get any slouches on the defensive side of the ball. You know, there's going to be fantastic defensive backs all around. So you got to be able to make those tight throws, and I think that he absolutely has that ability to make those throws. The question is going to be, is his pocket presence overall. He does have a tendency to take off pretty quickly, and he gets a little jumpy in the pocket sometimes. But this is a fantastic offensive line for St. Francis, and I think the key for him is going to be to make sure to stay calm and make those throws that he can make.
Now back to Dom. Let's hear about this St. Francis running game. Sanier Brooks, an absolute beast. He has a few Big Ten offers. Dom, what should we know about the Panthers top back?
Yeah, and talk about Sanier Brooks real quick. Talk about his story real quick. He started at Pittsburgh Central Catholic, a team very familiar to the St. Joseph's Prep team. He started their freshman year, went to Alquippa for his sophomore year. Now he's starting for this, obviously, powerhouse of a school at St. Francis. One of the best defensive readers in the area. Let's talk about that further. You know, making quick decisions. He's finding holes that you wouldn't really expect that could be open. Driving through these tight holes. This O-line is built for this run game, as I've said. Run-first offense, kind of that strategy that Chip Kelly really brought up with the run sets up the pass. But his size makes him a huge threat for this Hawks defense. It's going to be interesting to see how they are able to match up against such large size and talent that is brought from the junior running back. But regardless, you know, we're going to expect to see a lot of agility from this guy, punching holes, driving through with toughness, and overall an overhaul by the running back.
Absolutely. Let's go back to AJ here. This SFA, receiving core, absolutely loaded. Weapons, James Branch and Jermaine Smith Jr., as well as Michael Nabouf, all holding SEC offers. How hard will they be to stop this evening, AJ?
Yeah, I mean, like you just mentioned, all SEC offers. It's going to be a really big task defensively for the secondary to take care of. I mean, let's talk about Smith first. Number 3 in the state of Maryland for the class of 2028. Kind of reminds me of another very good receiver in the class of 2028. But I digress. I mean, he holds offers from Georgia, Ole Miss, Tennessee, etc. I mean, these are the top programs. You get a Georgia offer, you could play football at any school in the country. Moving over to the other side, you have James Branch, 48th player in the class of 2027. I mean, these are just two fantastic talents on both sides of the field. So you got to think prep defensively. You can't really focus too much on one guy. You got to make sure that you're playing both. Doubling might not be an option here because you don't want to leave single outside coverage on one of these other guys consistently. So that's going to really pose a challenge. It's going to be a lot of work for the corners, and especially as well the safeties. If there's one or two back, they're going to have to make sure that they're really stepping up and giving the help that anyone would need against these players. And then you mentioned tight end as well, holds an Alabama offer. That's going to give some problems as well. In the middle, we've talked about going deep down the sidelines. But that middle, you get an 8-yard completion over the middle. That's a couple of those. Get into field goal range and eventually a touchdown. That's going to be tough for, we know, the injured linebacker core of St. Joe's Prep. Making sure that guys are able to mark up and stay on their man, because with the safety help for the receivers, there might not be a ton of extra help there for the linebackers. So I think it's just going to be making sure that fairly consistent because you can't really focus too much on any one guy.
And Dom, let's go back to you here. The Panthers line, extremely solid. You look at Edward Baker, you look at John Watkins, and how about LaMarcus Dillard, all FBS commits? Will the Preps defensive line have a tough time against these guys tonight?
Well, Anthony, obviously, it depends on leadership, and that's something that St. Francis has had a history of, especially how good this O-line is, as we said. Relying on each player, they know each guy really, really well, obviously. They start to build that friendship inside, the chemistry builds. We're watching, looks like Xavier Brooks running up the middle right now, but you just see all of these factors that come together and just they can produce. A team, obviously, we said, built on leadership and stamina. They get better as the game goes on. O-line, and this O-line just doesn't allow for the largest holes for Brooks to cruise through. That might be the biggest threat to this team. Obviously, Xavier Brooks is already a piece enough, but it's going to depend what else we have. So we'll see. You know, you might get to see two O-linemen battle, prep defensemen, but obviously Coach Hallamariam knows what he's able to do with these guys. So as the game goes on, I'm sure we'll see a lot of change there.
Now to the defense. Jaden Travers and Alex Taylor, both stars on the D-line. AJ, what are your expectations on those two tonight?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, two stars on both sides of the defensive line. Just fantastic players overall. We're going to start with Travers. He has offers from Tennessee and A&M. And then Taylor, Georgia and Penn State. I mean, especially if you look at Taylor, Georgia and Penn State. Once, like I mentioned earlier, I mean, that's like it's the best you can get, honestly. So this is going to be a real big test for this prep offensive line. You know, some new faces on this line from last year. And offensive line takes time. It's a chemistry thing. It's going to be a big challenge. It really is. There's no other way to really put it. The prep offensive line has played relatively well so far this year, but this is definitely going to be the biggest test by far of the season. And like we mentioned a little bit with those receivers, you might have a little bit of trouble double blocking some guy every single time because you have so many stars on both sides of the ball. You might need to pull in the tight end maybe and have him max pass protect, maybe keep your running back in there so now he's not available in the passing game. So there's going to be a lot to think about because there's not a one answer fits all for the St. Francis team. There's just too much talent on every part of the field, really.
And we haven't even mentioned the top player in the nation, Dom, Zion Ely, the five-star, expected to have a solid night, as he always does here playing the Hawks this evening against a line that has struggled so far this season. How dominant of a force is the nation's best player?
Well, obviously, you know, let's talk about, again, got to talk about Zion Ely. He's going to be in the heads of everyone, especially Charlie Falk, who we'll get to talk about later. But it's going to be something to see how Coach Roken messes with his players to see how they can adapt to this guy, you know. Could you call him an athletic freak? Absolutely. And that probably pertains to be true, honestly. You know, his presence in the field opens for others to shine as well. You might get to see some forced passes here and there. That's why the cornerbacks are so good, just because of his presence alone. You know, but we might get to see some changes offensively for the Hawks. Maybe not get to see some normal starters if all doesn't go to plans. But, you know, it might be tough because I don't know if the St. Joe's O-line can really handle the double coverage of Zion Ely just because of his presence, his dominance, his power, and his overall agility on the field.
Now to the Panthers linebackers, guys. Doyon Forkpa Jr., Maurice Medley, and Jariah Miles, all very, very good. AJ, what do you have to say about another elite St. Francis position group?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we're just going through the entire team and saying this is an elite position group. Really just a theme here. This is a fantastic football team. Yeah, we mentioned this might be one of the best defensive teams, really, I've seen ever from at the high school level. Just a fantastic group, as you mentioned, and that's just continue to make things hard because if they bring a linebacker in to blitz, I mean, then you got to pick everyone up one-on-one coverage. Running the ball is going to be hard. You know, best run defenses are built off of those the nose and linebackers helping out in the run game. So it's really a struggle, isn't it, Anthony? Just a lot of talent everywhere around. I don't have a ton of answers for that realistically, but yeah.
And let's go to the DBs now. Dom, Hakeem Satterwhite, Amari Polydor, Kamari Bing, Wayne Henry, Raylon Henry. How about Jamie White, Antoine Robinson, and Christopher Quick, all with D1 offers? We haven't even gotten to the secondary's best player. What are you thinking from these St. Francis DBs?
Well, once again, we talk about leadership and how that affects players. Again, pertains to be true with this defense. The defensive backs here. again, you said you didn't mention the best player. Obviously, we'll get to hear AJ talk about him in a second. But these D-backs perform better just because of the whole team, honestly, Anthony. A tight defensive pressure on the line, a lot of forced passes, I'm going to say for sure, from Charlie Falk. They're trained to play better as the game goes along, and they're taught not to bend but not break. That's been the message from Coach Hallamariam. But, it allows for a lot of minimal breathing room for receivers. This team is going to be growing more and more and more aggressive as the game goes on. I'm excited to see how this defense looks out. I'm expecting a huge transition from zone to man coverage throughout this game. So, we'll see what Coach Hallamariam has in his pocket, because obviously we didn't get to see Joe's perhaps offense this game.
AJ, last question about St. Francis before we get back to the Hawks. Jaira Edwards is an absolute beast. He'll be heading to Alabama to play college ball. What are your thoughts on him?
Yeah, I mean, you're really setting me up every time here. These are just fantastic football players heading to Alabama. No joke, obviously, as a program. Big win against Wisconsin Badgers, unfortunately, today. I was really hoping for a bit of a miracle, but unfortunately did not come. Yeah, I was hoping after Seminoles lost, they were kind of going to spiral, but I guess not. It's not. But, yeah, he's a fantastic player. He's incredibly fast, which means he can make a bunch of different plays. He can step up and fill in the run game. But he can also cover those deep balls. Let's say that window happens. Charlie's looking for Jed Harrison. Now you have to be careful, too, about the safety stepping in and making a play in there. We actually saw that happen against DeMatha 2 weeks ago. Charlie throws a back shoulder ball towards Jet, but the safety steps in and makes a play. So we can see something like that happening, again, potentially from him. It seems like he knows where the ball is at all times. He sits back, and he has a great ability to just track the ball and predict where the play is going, which is invaluable to safety, or really any player on a football team. And great communicator, a leader. He makes sure that the guys are set at all times, seeing things. He'll adjust stuff. Just fantastic player overall, and just another fold to such a good team.
Now let's talk about the Hawks. The Prep looking to get back on track tonight as they come off of a rough 6 quarters of football where they were outscored 76-17. Dom, how will Charlie Falk look to lead this offense to victory this evening?
Well, Anthony, before I talk about Charlie Falk for a second, as I see on the field right now, it looks like St. Francis has been doing something similar to what DeMatha has. If they don't, if they go inside, staying outside and embracing that environment, that might be a huge factor into this game. Obviously, could have been a factor in the DeMatha game. I'm not sure. A lot of unknown variables there, Anthony. But let's get to Charlie Falk, as you said. Charlie Falk the fourth. Multiple offers, obviously 3-star quarterback, taught by Mahomes' personal QB coach. Kind of cool to say that, honestly, but he's good at countering a stout defense by using his wideouts in the passing game. You gotta trust his arm, and that's something that we expect Coach Sugden to especially use, offensive coordinator of the Hawks. Uses his arm a lot more. He's got some of the best weapons in all the PCL, so that will absolutely be a factor. But let's talk about another thing that's been pretty new, a developed run game, something you really haven't seen since the Miles Jones era. Starting to run a lot more, we saw it in the first game of the season against American Heritage. We saw a bit of it against DeMatha, But I will say, Anthony, as a quarterback, that should be the last resort. Obviously, you're going to have Zion Ely coming trying to tackle you everywhere in any which direction you can. So that's going to be a huge result in trying to figure out if we can see if Charlie Falk will make those adjustments, if the offense will make those adjustments to the blitz. But as the game goes on, I'm sure all the players will perform much, much better.
And, AJ, let's talk about the Monmouth man, as Dom Schalk calls him, Kai Billups. He and the rest of the running back room have not looked great over these last 6 quarters because of this national schedule. They're facing spectacular run Ds they're going up against. What do you think we will see from Billups this evening?
I think he's been okay. I think football is a team sport and not just about one guy. I think he has played relatively well, all things considered. But with Billups, the best thing about him, in my opinion, is his ability to continue to gain yards. If he breaks through the line, especially in open space, he is such a big threat. Incredibly elusive, fantastic agility, a great jump cut. I think it's going to be, for him, really, as long as he gets into that open field, I don't think it matters if this team has 5 stars and 4 stars and commits to here and there. I think he has the ability to make any guy, anywhere, miss him. He's strong enough he can bounce off tackles, but like I mentioned, it's just his elusiveness is the biggest thing. I don't see that stopping anytime soon. I don't see that stopping against anybody.
Dom, now let's talk about Jet Harrison. He had 2 touchdowns against DeMatha on Labor Day. And how about Alston Frisbee almost getting 100 yards against DeMatha? He's looked solid as of late as well. What are you expecting from these two and the receiving core tonight?
Well, Anthony, obviously, not Marvin Jesus, I always think about his dad, Jet Harrison, and, he probably is the best receiver in the state, to say the least. Young sophomore leader, all this receiving core. You should just tell by his overall size, he's a threat to any defense. Best hands on the team, maybe the best hands we've seen in a while for any of the prep players, but obviously no doubt at all he's going to a Power 4 university. Again, Alston Frisbee, that's the new guy who'll go stay on the block. New star of this offense, turned a lot of heads for the offseason, to say the least. I've seen him exceed on drag routes and post route running. Obviously, rough stretch recently because of a lot of drop passes. But I'm sure he's going to be a lot more focused in on this tough matchup against St. Francis. But listen, you talked about these 2 receivers, Anthony. What about Simon Calabardino? We saw a lot of targets and interceptions to him the past 2 games. So don't expect these 2 guys mainly getting all the balls, because we can see it passed out a lot throughout the game. And again, it's going to be interesting to see how the Hawks do. Will they target St. Francis' secondary by launching 30-plus yard passes, keeping them on their toes? I'm not sure, but as a fan, I think that's what needs to be needed, and that's how this Hawks team can dominate. Trust the arm. Don't trust the run game tonight.
AJ, let's go to the Preps offensive line. They have struggled to protect junior quarterback Charlie Folk through the first 2 games of the year. Do you think they'll look better tonight coming off a bye?
Yeah, Anthony, if I could predict the future, that would be great. Fortunately, I can't. What I will say is they had the bye week, as you mentioned, and that ability to, kind of rest, recover, and really make sure to figure out a couple issues on the offensive line. We know, and we've known this for years, the talent is there. The ability is there. It's just, I feel like I say that about anything about the prep football team ever, but we know that's the case. But hopefully you're thinking that the prep team, that offensive line, that unit, figured a couple more things out with this time. They've had plenty of time to look over at this team across the line from them. Fantastic, fantastic defensive front, as we already mentioned. But like I mentioned, the hope is that a couple things have clicked. Offensive lines aren't instantly going to come out and be great, especially with the moving parts, graduating seniors, and guys stepping up into new roles. But as we're starting to get into more the nitty-gritty of the season, I think we could see, the puzzle start to come together, if you will.
Now to this Hawks defensive line. Penn State commit Alex Haskell, of course, wearing number 10. He and company trying to lead one of the best position groups on this team tonight. Dom, what are your thoughts on how the line will perform this evening?
Well, Anthony, again, let's talk about Alex Haskell. I don't know if I expect a lot of him, because I'm sure the St. Francis team knows how to cooperate with such defensive talent. Last week, they prevented St. John's from scoring more than 14 points, which is very impressive. Obviously, St. John's, top 5 team in the nation, obviously. They came out with the victory there. Actually, 21, not 14 on that note. Bad ball knowledge by me. But no, it's going to be interesting to see how the matchups work with the O-line. I expect a lot of power there. Shuley might get some of that presidential stamp potentially. Colin Anderson with a lot of moves. The Cornell commit. But no, it's a lot of it just needs to work well against a run. This team needs to learn how to tackle Zanier Brooks. And again, that's mainly the main threat on offense, in my opinion, finding a way to stop Zanier Brooks. But we'll get to see. I'm sure this defense will definitely have transitioned to having more of stamina in a sense, because obviously did not work out the past few games. So a lot of practice, a lot of work, a lot of conditioning, and the team will hopefully perform a lot better in the past few games.
Now let's take it to that linebacking core, AJ. No John Boggs for the prep, meaning it'll be up to Brandon Lockley and company to go the extra mile tonight as the Hawks look to pull off the upset. How do you think the linebackers will look tonight, AJ?
Yeah, you mentioned John Boggs. I think I talked about his injury a little bit earlier, but he was one of those guys we saw. He played above the game. An incredibly smart player. You can see by his offers. Really, best schools in the country. Real academic powerhouses he had some offers from. Just kind of plays above the rest, and he sees very well. But it's gonna be a big loss for the prep. But Brandon Lockley and company, as you mentioned, we'll start with him first. Just a fantastic player overall. Both in the great job fitting in the run. Pretty good in the pass as well. He just received an offer today, I believe. I want to say A&M.
Texas A&M.
There you go. He's a fantastic player overall, but he's just perhaps still figuring out this linebacker unit, because you come into the season with a plan, with a vision, and then obviously injuries happen. You have to change. But with the talent depth overall, I see a pretty smooth adjustment for St. Joe's Prep. I think they look pretty good. It's just, like we mentioned earlier when talking about the DeMatha side, there's going to be a lot. There's going to be a lot to think about. So being level-headed and making sure that you're accounting for all things is going to be the biggest key.
And to wrap us up, let's talk about the Prep's defensive backs. Samaj Hill heading to West Virginia. Messiah Acree, of course, with so many offers. And how about Brandon Ross? They hope to have a night full of lockdown coverage this evening. Dom, what should we look for tonight from the Prep's DBs?
Well, I'm expecting a lot of aggressiveness. Talk about last week real quick. Obviously, I'm sure it's still in the minds of them at least. Penalties seem to have been an issue last week. A lot of penalties, especially Messiah Acree had 2 major penalties that allowed DeMatha to advance the ball down the field in the first half. Obviously, they didn't produce much, only 3 points. But it's been an issue, and I think you have to understand that you still have to dominate all secondary. You know, have a bit of pushing, have a bit of shoving. It's football. You got to play a bit of that aggressiveness. But obviously, I'm expecting a lot of zone coverage for the majority of this game because, you know, this secondary needs to back up this defensive line. If it cannot hold, then it folds throughout the game. Obviously, Senior Brooks, who said it again, the threat this game. He gets past the D-line, he might find the end zone if the secondary is not aware. That will be a big issue. We might get to see a lot of threats, a lot of shots towards Samaj Hill, the West Virginia command. You know, great pass breakup corner. You might see a lot of little shots to him from Hill, but you know, I think the guy to look out for in the secondary is Messiah Acree, honestly. You know, he's been waiting to shine for a type of moment like this, and I think it's time where he shows out. He has that leadership on the secondary, and overall has a dominant performance. Excuse me. Back to you, Anthony.
All right, gentlemen, it is finally time, about 18 minutes until kick. We have gone through each position group for both teams. Now it's time for our keys to the game. AJ, take us through what it will take for the Hawks to win tonight.
I think for the Hawks, it's going to be mental is the biggest thing for me. Coming in, I feel like it's very rare that we say this. This might be the only time you'll ever hear me saying this ever on a broadcast for football. Coming in a little bit, I don't know if I want to say overmatched in terms of talent, but definitely not the heavy favorites in that department. That doesn't happen very much for the St. Joe's Prep Hawks, does it? So I think mentally is going to be the biggest thing. You got to make sure that you're switching up your looks a little bit, right? You can't give them all one thing, because if you're going to give them, if you're passing the ball 50 times, then they're going to know you're going to pass the ball. So you can't give them any more advantages. You got to make sure that you're switching up and you're not too consistent with what you're doing. So you're giving different looks. I mean, it's not really up to them if their game plan gets wrecked or not, but I think the hope is just to stay, you know, make this team guess and try and, you know, win the mental battle, if you will. And then defensively, I think it's going to be a very similar thing. You got to be aggressive here. You got to play really aggressive. You got to take it to them, and you got to fight as hard as you possibly can. And I think leaning into that tough, gritty kind of mentality that this football team has would be a really big part. Just maybe try and rattle a couple guys. You know, I'm not against the cheap shot here or there. You know, if it gets what it gets, right? You can't go around to be a dirty player by any means, but try and get some sort of edge there competitively, which I think could be a huge thing. And just try and stay calm. Try not to get too overwhelmed by all the different looks that this offense has, because there's a lot. But I think if the guys can stay level-headed and make sure that they're seeing the football come into them instead of being caught around the game. You know, we talk about playing in a flow state with the game versus having the game go on and being a spectator. I think if they can kind of stay in that sort of flow state, I think it'd be a crazy upset win here.
Dom, same question to you.
Anthony, you know, I can't emphasize this enough. You got to trust your quarterback here. Charlie Falk, he's a 3-star for a reason. He's got a great arm. He's got Jed Harrison for crying out loud. This is a different type of offense that we've seen before. It's no longer the run sets up the pass. The pass sets up the run. This wide receiving core is phenomenal. The running backs are excellent on their own. They have to rely on one another. You need to lead one way or another, have your designated leader for offense or defense. But overall, this offense needs to produce more. It needs to produce. You said, Anthony, passing scores of football hasn't been so good for the Hawks. So these 4 need to be amazing, immaculate, and perfect. Rely on Charlie Falk's arm. He already has the IQ. Jed Harrison could run some of the best routes you'll ever see. Austin Frisbee always out there. Simon Calabardino with some routes as well. Trust your guys. Trust and love, as they say, will win this game.
Now to what everyone has been waiting for. Let's hear those score predictions, gents. AJ, we'll go to you first, then Dom.
I mean, this is a really tough one to do. This game could really go. I think if you're going to go do a crowd poll, if you will, I think it would definitely go towards the St. Francis side. But I don't think this team loses 3 games in a row. I don't think it happens. You know, everyone else is saying St. Francis this, St. Francis. I'm going to go St. Joe's Prep. I'm going to go St. Joe's Prep 31-28. And I'm going to stand by that.
And Dom?
Anthony, you know, this is a team I've been looking at for 3 years now. You know, I've always seen just overall dominance from them. You know, their story's incredible, how they come to play such a good national schedule. Even the president of St. Joe's Prep, Mr. Marinacci, knows a few words about this team. He obviously helped get them out of Maryland Interscholastic Athletic Association. But listen, they're coming in after a difficult matchup against John Bosco. Obviously, the Hawks coming off of their worst start since 2007, being 0-2 in a sense. I mean, I may have overstretched that, but you know, I don't think the Hawks lead throughout any of this game. I think St. Francis continues to apply pressure. Defense will win this game, obviously, at the end of the day, and I think in that note, St. Francis has the best. I will compare it to something similar we've seen before in past prep history, a game similar to IMG in a sense. I mentioned it before to Anthony off camera, off stream. You know, they have a great defensive line. They got the secondary that exceeds. It's all a matter of combining, but, you know, it's going to be tough to go get your first win against such a dominant program, all dominance here. Coach Halamarian will guide the Panthers to victory, 21-17.
My prediction is a hard-fought game between these two powerhouse programs. The Hawks will look a ton better than they did in the first 2 games. Not just that. On my notes, I have them losing, but we're going to flip it. St. Joe's Prep 21-17. The Hawks pull off the upset of the year and shock all of the East Coast. Give me the Hawks this evening. And, folks, that will do it. 13 minutes until kick. Thank you all for watching this evening. I've been Anthony Sorgi alongside my analysts Dom Campanero and AJ Farrington. Next on WSJP, the voice of the prep, Dom Schalk and Ryan Sullivan have the call from historic Franklin Field. Enjoy the game, and as always, go Prep.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We are here at Franklin Field, where the Hawks of St. Joseph's Prep take on the Panthers of St. Francis Academy. The heart of Philadelphia versus the heart of Baltimore. The Hawks come into this game 0-2 for the first time since 2007. After a deflating defeat in Wilmington to another DMV squad, DeMatha, looking to get back to where they belong in the win column. St. Francis comes in the 4th-ranked team in the nation after coming away with a major win in the Broward County Showcase, led by 5-star plus, the best defensive end in the nation, Zion Ely. I am Dominic Schalk, your play-by-play commentator for tonight, and I am joined by Ryan Sullivan, your color analyst. Ryan, how are we feeling?
I feel absolutely hype for this game, Dom. One of the best teams in the country, St. Francis, coming to Franklin Field to battle the undisputed reigning champions of the state of Pennsylvania, St. Joe's Prep. You can't get a better matchup, and there's no better place to listen to than WSJP.
Exactly. We are here. It is the Zone 6 Football Classic at the legendary Franklin Field, the home of the UPenn Quakers. And there is no place the Hawks would rather be to get themselves back where they belong in the win column.
Yeah, 100%, Dom. I mean, obviously the first two games not going in the favor of St. Joe's Prep. You know, you had that 28-point lead against American Heritage, but then it all just kind of fell apart. Obviously against DeMatha, once again, you had the lead at halftime, and then it all just kind of fell apart in the second half. Hopefully St. Joe's Prep can get off to that hot start. You want to catch St. Francis lacking after the loss last week to St. John Bosco. Get off to that hot start. I've heard there's been a lot of conditioning over the past couple of weeks of practices to keep them going, to keep them ready for that second half action. We'll see if that happens. We'll see if they're going to be ready for that second half once it comes.
And they have to be. I mean, St. Francis is not a team at all that will let them off the hook. St. Francis is an absolutely terrifying squad, in all honesty. Led by Zion Ely, they are ready to take the fight to the Hawks in their hometown, and the Prep needs to be ready to respond.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, this defense is just absolutely incredible. I've said over the past couple of weeks, if you've listened, that this offense of St. Francis, I don't think it's necessarily anything too special. Hopefully my words don't come back to bite me there. But I don't know if it's that their offense is necessarily the greatest thing in the country. But their defense, I believe, is the #1 defense in the country. Led by Zion Ely, led by Edwards, led by just about everybody who has an offer on this defense, which is pretty much everybody. So you got to watch out for this defense, Dom. The Hawks getting the ball to start, so we're going to see that defense, and we're going to see how the Hawks offense has progressed through these past 2 weeks.
Absolutely. And, you know, you notice just consistently it's been the Hawks defense that is the dominant piece of this squad. And I think, honestly, the most likely outcome for this is kind of a dirty slugfest between two very intimidating defenses and two offenses kind of seeking to find a connection still early on in the season as we are off. And it is a touchback to begin. Hawks now trot out Charlie Falk and his guys.
And now here comes St. Joseph's Prep offense. Obviously, you know, I would say a good start you had in the first half in the first 2 weeks, but then on the second half, not really much was happening. We'll see how they start here, but I think the second half is really what we need to look at. But the Prep, I think that there are going to be some changes made to this offense. Obviously, you know, it seems like maybe running the football is not going to be the greatest option. So maybe we'll see a little bit more passing here to start.
Exactly, and, you know, just Hawks 0-2 to start, ready to finally get back on track, but now facing what many would say, all the national rankings would say, is their toughest opponent of the year, even more highly regarded than American Heritage, who obviously won in a barn burner down in Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, I think that this definitely is the hardest team that the Prep have played easily, Dom.
Folk hands it off initially. It's going to be Billups up the gut. The man committed to Monmouth will push forward for just about 2 into a stacked front 7.
Well, we typically see the Prep. We know like the run. We've seen them really be a run-first team, and just once again, you know, we've seen it over the past couple of weeks, just that run straight through the hole with Kion Billups. You got Jake Namelman in there, center committed to Dartmouth, and I think he's one of the better centers in the PCL, and he definitely is able to open up those A-gaps.
Namelman, he's been continually impressive up the middle. You see Colberdino go in motion. Folk looking to his left, gets Novotny across the middle. He makes a man miss, gets the first down.
So that play right there, designed for Rob Novotny. He was stacked with Alston Frisbee. Novotny just a slant over the middle. Alston Frisbee fading out. That's who they want St. Francis to pay attention to, but you got Novotny over the middle there. Great throw and great catch for a first down.
And that's where Novotny's always a threat. See Colberdino solo to the left. Novotny, Frisbee, Harrison in trips to the right.
Also important to mention that the Hawks are at the 37-yard line. They're of their own.
Hawks already making a bit of progress, trying to put together a drive. Folk looks to his left, quick hitch route to Colberdino. He slips and the ball's to his right, incomplete.
Yeah, a good job out of his break, that being from Colberdino. He got the defensive back there to stumble a little bit, just a throw a bit off target from Charlie Falk, but expect that to change.
Absolutely, and then you see guys like Jake Wilson out there, you know, and Novotny both on the line, trying to form sort of a stronger attack to really shore up against the rush of the Panthers. 2nd and 10 here for the Hawks. Falk takes it, looks to the right side. Jet Harrison solo coverage, over his head, incomplete. 3rd and 10.
And that's the matchup we're going to see throughout this game. Jet Harrison versus Ryloon Henry, the 4-star commit, class at 2027. Good job from Henry to get Jet Harrison to go out of bounds. Charlie Falk been throwing it up. Maybe he's going to get a penalty of something, but the ball kind of fades out of bounds. 1 win there for Henry.
Exactly. It's going to be a war on the outside between those two. You see, I mean, Williams in the backfield now. Same trip set out to Falk's right, and Colberdino still solo on the left. 3rd and 10 on the Hawks' own 37. In some momentum to start this game off. Falk looking to his left, pressured goes Colberdino. He is hit, and the ball is incomplete.
Yeah.
3 straight passes, 3 straight incompletions.
Yeah, double team there on Colberdino. Charlie Falk really just read him throughout the entire play. Didn't really seem to look at anybody else. Tried to get him there on the comeback route, but a great job there from St. Francis. Not getting too jippy to start this game. They just stay with Colberdino. They stay seated at that 10-yard mark, and it's an incomplete pass.
And there's so much strong talent in this Panthers secondary. Raylon Henry, Jamie White Jr., Antoine Robinson Jr., Christopher Quick. These guys, they come in with D1 offers, very highly touted. They have the athleticism to keep up with Jet Harrison and the rest of these skill position players. This punt, the snap on the punt is high. Blake Shoulder manages to get it off, but it's a bit of a wobbler. Only manages to bounce out at the Hawks' 42-yard line. A special teams miscue.
Yeah, I mean, this is just that the snap went high. There's not really much analysis you could put into that one. The snap went a bit high. Shoulder did a good job trying to jump for it. The good thing is that he at least got the punt off, so St. Francis is not in the red zone to start. So that's a little bit of positive note there for St. Joe's Prep. But special teams issues doesn't really seem to be much of a problem for the Prep. I assume that'll, be fine throughout the rest of the game. But now that's offensive St. Francis. As I've said, I don't know how necessarily incredible it is. We're going to see here, though.
Panthers come out. 2 receivers stacked vertically on each side. In the backfield, it is handed off to Nasir Brooks, who is quickly brought down. Hawks collapse at the line.
What a boomstick there from Logan Lindsay, filling in at Mike linebacker today. And he just comes in through the gap, kind of just stays at the line of scrimmage. And the second Nasir Brooks hit the line of scrimmage, a boomstick from Logan Lindsay. Great play from him.
Logan Lindsay obviously filling in for the injured John Boggs, someone you wish to see back quickly. But Lindsay shows he's up to the task. Next man up mentality. 1 on the left, 2 on the right. Man in the backfield, and 6 on the line for the Panthers. Nasir Brooks, the man in the backfield.
Brandon Ross looks like he is going to blitz here.
Showing blitz from the Hawks. Back up. We'll see what they do here. Choose to only rush 4. Quick shovel off to the outside, and he is pushed out of bounds for an 11-yard gain. St. Francis moves the chains.
And that's just a great read there by Denari Hill on the RPO. Obviously, the run was a bit filled up, so nobody's going to be covering the outside receivers, and he's able to roll out of the pocket, just make the easy throw, and they get a first down. But now St. Francis on the 31-yard line of St. Joe's Prep.
Same setup here, 6 on the line. Brooks in the backfield. 1 left, 2 right. Hawks on 4 on the line right now, but they choose to rush 5. Quickly collapsed upon, but Brooks manages to bounce out to the second level and is finally hauled in. We will see what the call is as a flag on the field.
I think this one might be coming back. It was thrown within the secondary. There was a bit of a late flag, and the second, Denari Hill got past Samaj Hill, so this one could be coming back.
Dario Jacquez manages to get in, make that tackle, but see if it'll be coming back. It will.
Yeah, I mean, there was, I think, a little bit of a hold there. Samaj Hill just getting held a bit after Denari Hill got past him, and obviously the referees, they are going to be looking for that. Every official picky on those type of calls, and a bit of a break there for St. Joe's Prep.
Denari Hill, 2 to his left, 1 to his right. Brooks continues to stay on in the backfield. Hill adjusting his play, looking back at the sideline. It's going to be a handoff to Brooks up the middle. The outside zone is quickly wrapped up.
And the first line of defense, that being the defensive line for St. Joe's Prep, you know, not really able to do anything. But then Brandon Lockley, the second level of defense, no, he's coming in unblocked. And obviously, when there's a tackle to make, you bet on B-Dot.
Exactly, one of the most impressive linebackers in Pennsylvania, in the nation. Athletic freak who always knows right where to be. Beautiful wrap up. Second and 12 here.
Spread formation from St. Francis, something you don't typically see.
Exactly. Trying to make some movement through the air happen. Hill fakes the handoff. He's looking deep. Now he goes across the middle, and it is hauled in for a gain of just about 15. They move the chains on the second and long.
Yeah, that's a nice throw there in the pocket from Denari Hill. Had time. It looked like Smith beat Samaj Jones a bit there on the break. A bit of a long slant, not necessarily a post, but a very good route there to get the first down.
Impressive work yet again. A flag is thrown.
I believe that was on Colton Anderson.
Hawks are preemptively moving back. It will be offsides.
Yeah, offsides penalties have been a bit of a problem for St. Joe's Prep over the past couple of games. And, you know, obviously the first one here, not the greatest look, but we'll see how they progress.
Penalties have been a bit of a problem as a whole.
Yeah, in the game against the Matha.
Hawks, however, continuing the trend and playing with the teams they've squared off against in the first half. So moving on, sustaining it in the second, that's been the issue. Handoff is made to Jalen Burke, who continues to push forward.
Yeah, but this one's probably coming back down.
Yeah. Yet another flag down. See if that is holding again from the Panthers. They appear to be backing up like it is.
Yeah, this is definitely holding. There's a big jumble within St. Francis. Yeah, and they cut me off there, but it was holding.
Big impact right there. So now it is first and way more than you'd like it to be.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's just a holding call, and a great job from St. Joe's Prep to, you know, make up for it. They have gotten away, though, with a few penalty calls. Well, not gotten away with it, but they've gotten lucky with a few penalty calls.
Denari Hill, 3 to his right. He's going to design to roll out to that side. He'll toss it off quickly to Damon Hall, the tight end. He manages to push forward. Will the chains move?
Another flag down. Another flag. I think it might have been a legal formation from St. Francis. Let's see, though.
Yeah, Ryan, you might have to be on flag watcher duty.
Yeah, it might be. But I think that... Oh, no, holding. Holding again. I thought, see...
Check their gloves for Stickum.
That's very unlucky, though, for St. Francis, because they got St. Joe's Prep to jumble up. That is what the trip set is for. You want to get the secondary confused. They got Mason Talley and Samaj Hill to run into each other. That is what you want to see if you are St. Francis. So a good look, even though there is a penalty.
That's a freshman football wide receiver in you.
Yes, that is. That is 100% indeed.
First and a mile.
Yeah, I'd say this is about like 18.
3 wide. 2 to the left, 1 to the right. Brooks in the backfield as usual. No, it's Jalen Burke in the backfield, and he is wrapped up quickly. A ton of Hawks get in on that.
So now St. Francis, it seems like their offensive line not being as aggressive. Obviously, the referees, they're being a bit picky today on the holding calls, and Jason Nitz takes advantage of that. He just lets the guys get off him, and the running backs in front of him just makes the tackle, making sure his feet are not being driven into the ground, and a good stop there for St. Joe's Prep.
Nitz, Haskell, Anderson, Shuley all getting in on that, really just wrapping him up low and then bogging him down until he can't move.
Was that like a pun for John Boggs?
It could be if you want it to be.
All right, well, I'll let the viewers at home decide.
2nd and 22.
Wow.
4 wide. Fake the handoff, and it will be a bubble screen up the sideline. Talley tries to stop him. He cannot. St. Francis strikes first here at Franklin Field. A bad outcome on a 2nd and a mile. Great play from Jesse Legree on the bubble screen. Perfectly executed by the Panthers.
Brendan Flaherty seemed to break down in front of him, but then nothing really happened from it. He didn't really seem to move Talley. I think he was trying to force him outside, but he went inside, and a score there for St. Francis.
Hill ran that to perfection, really had the defense to bite on the run fake. Bubble screen goes off, one-on-one between him and Talley. He cuts in, and that will be 7-0 St. Francis. 5:24 left here in the first at Franklin Field.
Something I seem to notice from St. Francis so far is that whenever they run a spread set, they seem to be throwing the football. So I think that it's a learning point for St. Joe's Prep to know that, maybe drop some of your guys if they are in a spread set.
Exactly. Adaptation is going to be key from this prep coaching staff in order to really innovate and bring the Hawks to victory over such a nationally acclaimed team. And Charlie Folk coming back out there, trying to spur this offense. Had great success in the first half against Heritage and reasonably so against DeMatha as well. Do you think he can manage to produce a full 48 minutes of quality offense?
Well, there's no doubt. There's no doubt about it because we've seen him produce a full 48 minutes of offense with, pretty much some similar receivers. You got Simon Cloverdino. He's targeted him 2 times. You got Jet Harrison. He's thrown to him all season last season. Austin Frisbee, he's developed that connection ever since the spring. Same thing with Elim Tootle, amongst others. So there's no reason that he can't connect with his receivers. We just got to see it happen here. But, it's a long game.
Kickoff is a touchback yet again. Bit of pushing on the kickoff. Nothing called.
And now if you're St. Joe's Prep, you got to come out. St. Francis don't really seem to be overcommitting in the secondary. They seem to just kind of be staying pat within their zone. And if you're St. Joe's Prep, you might need to take advantage of that with the, maybe some short plays, maybe some short slants, something around there. You saw Rob Novotny get a first down off a short slant. Maybe we'll see something similar.
You recall the Hawks airing it out quite a bit in their last time at Franklin Field against the Cahalites of Roman Catholic.
Right.
Quite a few major deep bombs tossed there against the 5A state runner-ups. But now, Folk out there, he's going to have Wilson to his right as an extra blocker in the backfield. Then Billups behind him. Clobodino and Frisbee to the left. Harrison solo on the right. Billups, he tries to bounce this outside. Breaks a tackle and pushes forward for 3 yards after the successful cut outside.
Something I've always noticed with St. Joe's Prep is when they have an H-back in the backfield, they typically run the ball. But that's a great job there from Kai Billups. His assignment is the C-gap. He does get through there, but then he notices that there's about 2 extra guys on the second level for St. Francis. Just bounces to the outside where his blockers are. Gets up, tries to get up the sideline, and gets extra yards than he probably should have.
Exactly. He manages to make something out of, well, I wouldn't say nothing, but he wasn't given the greatest hole up the middle.
It might have been nothing, honestly.
Yeah, not ridiculous to say. He manages to bounce it to the outside and really show off that speed. Obviously a smaller guy, but he certainly makes up for it in both determination and agility.
Yeah, 100%. Kai Billups is one of the best players in the PCL in terms of running backs. Obviously, 1,000 yards last season for him.
Who did that before him?
Well, DeAndre Swift.
Great company to be in.
100%. And I think Don Campanero asked Kion if Coach Swift got on him for that, for breaking his son's record. But I think he was, you know, he was happy for him.
Exactly. Progress is always something to be pleased with. And, you know, as you notice, a man was down for American Heritage, number 55, Jamar Allen. He will be off the field now. Hope that he is healthy. Same personnel out there for the Hawks. Frisbee, Colberdino to the right. Harrison, one-on-one on the left. Press coverage. Wilson and Billups in the backfield. Falk looks back at the sideline. 2nd and 7. Ready to deliver. Well, fakes the handoff. He goes across the middle. Jet Harrison. He makes the catch through contact. He's going 30, 20, 10. Breaks the tackle off the ankles. Touchdown, Hawks. Jet Harrison goes all the way. 76 yards.
What a delivery there from Charlie Falk. Stays calm in the pocket. Extra men on the rush. St. Francis trusting Henry on Jet Harrison, but a great slant there from Jet. Just simply rips it out of the hands of Henry, who really stayed on him for the entire route. Breaks that tackle. Breaks another one. We know the speed of Jet Harrison. Touchdown, St. Joe's Prep.
It's in his blood. What can you say? He makes his impact here at Franklin Field. I pointed out the press before the play. You cannot do that to Jet Harrison one-on-one.
Yeah, I've said it before, and I've said it again.
Piggybacking on his back the whole time before he catches it. Doesn't matter.
I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Jet Harrison is the most unstoppable one-on-one receiver in the state of Pennsylvania.
Luke Cochran out here to kick the extra point.
Offsides.
Offside.
Now here's the question. Will they go for it?
It's not ridiculous.
I don't think so. Looks like they're keeping him out there. And we've seen some adjustments between kickers over the past couple of weeks. Luke Cochran and Blake Scholler have been in there. They've both gotten a few opportunities. Looks like the Prep's still kind of testing out who they maybe want to make as that undisputed number 1.
Yeah, it's something you wish to have sorted out by Catholic League play. Offside yet again.
Wow.
They really that intent on blocking it?
I guess so. The Prep, I've always said it, they've always done a great job of making teams jump off sides. And that the greatest, I think, example of that was last year against Emotep. They just got them to jump off sides the entire game. And they did it against Heritage a couple times. And now they're doing it here.
I'd be scared of the lineup against Prep teams last year.
Yeah, Prep last year, I mean, great team. And
still a great team.
Oh, yeah, still a great team.
Cochran now. 3rd try is a charm. Line drives it right through the uprights.
And the Prep, they finally get an opportunity to actually kick it through. You know, maybe they were trying to ice Cochran a little bit, not necessarily sure, but they get it done. The Hawks tied up, and now let's see if this defense can get a stop.
7-7, 4 minutes and 31 seconds here at the esteemed Franklin Field. The Hawks, they come out firing against St. Francis. Reminder, number 4 in the country. Yeah. And they are ready to play here in the home state, here in the hometown, here in the city.
In the city. I mean, I think St. Francis is pretty familiar with playing in the city, obviously coming from the great Baltimore, Maryland. You ever been to Maryland, Schalk?
You have, right? I was in Baltimore a couple of years back. Great city, honestly.
Really? Yeah, I mean, I think I drove through there once. I was in
Johns Hopkins, please accept me.
Really? Is that what we're looking at?
Yeah.
We should put this on the...
Great med school.
All right, we'll put this on the list. But now the Prep, it looks like Cochran's also going to do the... Or maybe it's Scholler. I can't necessarily see who's going to do the long kicking.
That is a 1-9 right there.
Yeah, that's
Cochran.
It is. Yep. I got to memorize my numbers better, I guess. Or see numbers better.
Hey, we do have 2 number 19s.
That is
Colin
true.
Stoner, the JV kicker and punter. Saw him against Cardinal Gibbons down in Florida.
Oh, yeah. We're hoping to get some other JV games this season as well.
50-0 against Cardinal Gibbons. Need to remind you.
Yeah, that was a good
As the
game.
kick is up, line drive lands and bounces out of bounds. Flag will be thrown.
Yeah, I mean, the Prep, they don't typically do, the high long kicks. They normally want it to bounce. That's what we have seen since Coach Roken has been within the program. So it's not typical that we see the prep kick it too high, but obviously you don't want to kick it out of bounds.
Exactly, you know. I mean, how about that Jen Harrison catch?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I mean, you keep going back to that. I mean, that was just an incredible play. I mean, Jet Harrison one-on-one just rips the ball out. I mean, let's give credit to Henry as well. That was really good coverage on Jet Harrison, but
Not good enough.
I mean, I guess it wasn't at the end of the day. And this is a 4-stack set for.
Ryan Hill trots back out there. Heavy pressure comes in on him, and he is swallowed up.
I assume that was some sort of RPO with a quarterback run involved. I mean, Denari Hill had his guy open, and everybody seemed to be blocking pretty well, but then he just decided to tuck it and run. I'm not necessarily sure why he did that. Maybe just thought the play was going to break down. I don't know, but
Correct me if I'm wrong, Zach seemed pretty presidential.
yeah, it definitely did.
Three wide, one on the left, two on the right. Hill, he's looking back at the sideline. You see Bourne back there in the backfield with him. I mean, sorry, Burke.
Also take a note, Jay Nitz playing Leo here, kind of dropping in the coverage.
I mean, when Boggs is out, you have to improvise in certain manners. You see Brandon Ross approaching the line of scrimmage. Pressure here on Hill. He is swallowed up yet again.
Yeah, I'm very confused on why he keeps deciding to tuck and run. The prep have seemed to got that figured out. I don't know. There's extra guys on the rush, and he's had two receivers open. I'm not sure why he decided to tuck it and run there again, but I mean, if you're St. Joe's prep, you take that.
I mean, it's Shuley and the next man up, Lindsey, right there, sandwiching him right around the line of scrimmage. 3rd and 15 on their own 30-yard line. Incredible start for the Hawks, who have all the momentum here with the blackout student section.
Wide trip set here for St. Francis.
5 wide Hill. He is ready to uncork. He's hit as he throws. It's a pop fly, and it is broken up on the sideline. Who else but Samaj Hill?
Yeah, Denari Hill, not much of a great thrower down the field. He's not that type of quarterback. So I think St. Francis was just trying to draw a penalty there. And obviously, it didn't work. Great coverage from Samaj Hill, who is now down.
We will.
Oh, no.
Obviously, an incredibly crucial piece of this prep secondary. Committed to West Virginia. Had the pleasure of interviewing him when we were down in Fort Lauderdale.
It might just be a cramp there, Don. I mean, he was celebrating out there on the field, and he just kind of seemed to just, go down. I think he might have just cramped up. He seems to be all right.
Love to see it. Just stretch him out. He'll walk off on his own power. Hope to see him back out there.
Yeah, I think he just cramped up there. I mean, he's obviously been running a lot here. He's the St. Francis receivers really making him work, especially down the field. So it could have just been a cramp.
Exactly. And 4th and 15 here. Punting from the St. Francis 30-yard line. The Panthers barely get the punt off, and it will be high to Kyle Almond. He will fair catch it on the Hawks, 42.
And now here's your opportunity. If you're St. Joe's prep, you got to go and take it. But obviously easier said than done. No matter what you say about the St. Francis's defense on the last drive, I still believe they're the #1 defense in the country. And the #1 defense is always going to give up a couple points no matter who you're playing. So if you're the prep, you can't let that touchdown, be the end-all, be-all. You got to go out and you got to get more.
You know, in the words of the late, great Dennis Green, they are who we thought they were. It happened in American Heritage. They had the Patriots where they wanted them, and they let them off the hook. But here at Franklin Field, they will not let St. Francis off the hook. This is a reinvigorated Hawks team ready to take back what is theirs. Folk, handoff to Billups up the gut. He gets plenty of space, gets into the second level for a gain of 6.
That's a great job from the offensive line. They just immediately take out the first level for St. Francis. They get upfield. They take out the second level just a little bit. Kion got tripped up, though, so a good gain of 5 yards.
Folk out there, you see Harrison and Frisbee in a duo together on the left, Novotny on the line, and then Colaberdino out to the right.
I'm interested to see the stack set here for St. Joe's prep, but they might run it again because of the fact you just got 5 off that first one.
Fair point is you see Harrison go in the motion. He's now separated from Frisbee. Folk fires on an out route to Harrison. He's hit in the back before the throw. It will be defensive pass interference.
I'm very interested to see if they actually call this defensive pass interference. It looked like Jet might have gave himself up there a little bit, but I mean, you would take it if you're St. Joe's Prep.
I certainly will take it. Jira Edwards, number 04, the Panthers, bumps Harrison in the back before the ball gets to him.
Wow.
Just can't be doing that.
I'm kind of surprised they actually called that. I don't know. It seemed like Jet might have gave himself up from our angle, but maybe it was just a good selling job. I'm not necessarily sure, but Jet Harrison has been, I'd say, the MVP so far for St. Joe's Prep.
I'm not shocked. If the ball is thrown in Jet Harrison's general vicinity, and if he doesn't come down with it, I'm throwing a flag too.
Also, a really nice way for a really nice route. I don't know why I said that. Really nice route there for Jet Harrison in motion, and then on the out route.
Harrison one-on-one press yet again on the left. Frisbee, Colberdino on the right. Billups up the middle into a stacked front seven, swallowed up for a gain of nothing.
Yeah, I mean, St. Francis had 8 guys rushing there, and they ran it to the side with 2 extra men there on the rush. The pulling there was good, though, from Dave Contreras, but there's not really much he could have done on the second level. St. Francis was already there.
Exactly. Now here on the St. Francis 38. Hawks now solidly in the Panthers' territory, ready to take the lead here and pull off a great upset on the national stage. That signature win, it's been something that's eluded the Hawks in recent years before the Catholic League schedule. Really hoping to get it here.
Interesting matchup here in the slot. Once again, Jair Edwards and Jet Harrison. Want to see this one in the slot.
Volk will look across the middle of the field, and it is intercepted by Jira Edwards. Throw is ahead of Alston Frisbee, breaking across the middle. So that, and the Panthers will regain possession.
So that play there designed for Jet Harris, well, actually designed there for Alston Frisbee. Jet's supposed to run a wheel route, and he did that, and it's supposed to get Jair Edwards to stay with Jet Harrison and force the outside corner to switch on to Alston Frisbee. But a great job there from Jair Edwards, just staying put, reading the play perfectly. And if you're Alston Frisbee, there's not much you can do. You have to wait for Jet Harrison to get off on that wheel route. And Charlie Falk, he's supposed to be throwing the ball there, so it's not really anybody's fault for St. Joe's Prep. It's just a great play by Jair Edwards.
Exactly, great work by Edwards. I mean, the throw hit him right in the numbers, and quite frankly, it's hard to blame anyone for that, because that's exactly where the ball's meant to go. He was just aware enough to not get pulled off by the threat of Jet Harrison.
Yeah, I mean, it's once again, it's nobody's fault for St. Joe's Prep. Jair Edwards just stayed put, and he the coaching is. You're hoping he still goes with Jet Harrison on the wheel.
Now Denari Hill trots back out here, and there's going to be a handoff up the gut, and it will break forward for a gain of 20 by Jalen Burke.
Good job there from the last level of St. Joe's Prep, letting the first level recover and get to, the ball carrier there, and just an unfortunate turn of events there for St. Joe's Prep.
Not what you want to see there, but Denari Hill, he's trotting out there, and he's trying to go tit for tat with last year's reigning Pennsylvania State Player of the Year, Charlie Falk. Hill, I mean, he holds offers from Syracuse, Sacramento State, and UMass. Massively stacked front here, but the Hawks quickly swallow up the run. Gain of only 2.
Yeah, I mean, the 2 H-backs in the backfield is very interesting for St. Francis. They definitely want this run game to work. And, I mean, St. Joe's Prep, a decent job there for having 2 H-backs back there. They get about 3 or 4 there, and now they're on St. Joseph's Prep 42-yard line.
Okay. Stacked line here yet again. Very strong formation. It's a handoff up the gut. This time to Burke. He's going to bounce it outside, and he is going for quite a bit before finally being tied up by Dario Jacquez.
Yeah, I mean, the first level there, flared. He tried to bring him down, but I think he might have overcommitted there. It broke down a bit too early, and, you're relying on the last level of defense if you're St. Joe's Prep, so you're forced to give up that 20-yard play.
Right on the entrance to the red zone. St. Francis now on the Hawks 20. A very quick reversal of fortunes as we come to a close here in the first quarter. It is 7-7 at Franklin Field, as we will take a quick break. We are back here with the second quarter. Denari Hill back out. Very strong formation on the line. No men wide. It's Jalen Burke up the gut. He manages to make a man miss. He'll bounce it out to the left side. Finally brought down on the hip drop by Mason Talley.
Yeah, I mean, great job there from St. Francis, just bouncing to the outside. St. Joe's Prep seems to be pinching through the middle. Just bounce to the outside there, get those yards, and, you know, I mean, it's a great play by from St. Francis.
Burke is really impressive. I mean, showing almost like a Le'Veon Bell-esque type attribute where you just wait for the hole to form behind these 8 strong lines that the Panthers are putting out. I mean, 3 men in the backfield, everyone else on the line. They are coming in strong against this vaunted Hawk squad. Burke will plunge forward yet again here on 1st and goal, and he will bring them to the 2-yard line. Panthers knocking on the door.
Some people might think it's easy, but when you get to the goal line, it is hard to get in the end zone. And St. Joe's Prep, they are trying to just bring Hill down. You're trying to get into the backfield quickly. But, I mean, St. Joseph's Prep, they have done a good job taking down guys at the line of scrimmage. So if you are St. Francis, you got to really stack that middle.
Hill, Burke, Brooks just continuing to pound away here. Up the gut, he is met in the backfield, manages to slip a tackle, but forward progress will stop him before the line to gain. He will not get into the end zone.
Logan Lindsay, while he might have, missed the tackle a little bit, he did make a big impact. It forced Brooks to, hesitate a little bit on the line, and it allowed his first level for St. Joseph's Prep to gather, get off their blocks, and make that tackle.
Exactly. It's just continued wars in the trenches every single time.
It's money down.
3rd down, money down here.
From the officials. Officials time out there. But now it's money down, Dom.
Yeah, 1.5-yard line. And this is a very crucial play. You wonder if the Hawks manage to get the stop here, can they force the special teams to come out for St. Francis? The heart of Baltimore goes up the gut and punches it in. St. Francis scores and takes the lead.
St. Joe's Prep, it seemed like they're committing really hard to the A-gap there. And St. Francis, well, they say, you want to commit to the A-gap, we'll commit to the C-gap. And that's the gap they run through, touchdown.
Exactly, not what you want to see, but the Hawks defense did their best job on that drive, really kind of prolonging it after the unfortunate turnover that gave possession back to the Panthers. 13-7 now, as the extra point is about to go up. The kick is blocked. Extra point swatted away.
Yeah, I saw Mason Talley come off the edge, and I was like, is he going to get there? And he does. Great job from Mason Talley coming off the edge, unblocked. You see the speed from him. We've seen it as he's been playing that free safety spot, and he comes in flying to get the block. And that could be very crucial at the end of the game for St. Joe's Prep, that 1 point.
100% agreed. We are back from our short break here on WSJP as the heart of the DMV, St. Francis gets ready to send it back to the Hawks.
This is a very crucial drive for St. Joe's Prep. You get that blocked field goal. Obviously, the touchdown is, obviously not great, but this is a blocked field goal. Now, if you can go down and get a touchdown, get that extra point, take that 1 point lead, that momentum switch can be huge.
The fight needs to continue as it is yet another touchback. The dangerous duo of Acree and Almond yet to be given a chance to return a kick.
Yeah, and obviously we know the fear of Messiah Acre returning the football. We've seen it throughout so many games where he is just taking kicks back to the other team's side of the field. So if you're St. Francis, I mean, I don't blame him not letting Messiah Acre get a return because you do not want to see that happen.
Look at Anthony Sorgi down there on the sideline.
What a guy.
Valuable member of the club.
Valuable member indeed.
Charlie Falk out there. And it will be a handoff up the gut. Kion Billups plunges forward for 2.
Yeah, and if the gap on the first level opened up just a little bit more, you might have seen Kion Billups break there, but a great job there from Kamari Bing to get that tackle in the open field on Kion Billups. Probably prevented a touchdown there.
I haven't seen too many personnel mix-up. No Elam Tootle yet.
No.
It's just been a strict top 3 wideouts of Harrison, Frisbee, Colberdino. You see Novotny on the line here.
I think they want to give Jet Harrison his own side, and we saw it on that touchdown. There's a reason for that.
Harrison is alone on the left. Falk looks to him, makes his progression, hits Colberdino across the middle. Little hitch route for 7.
And I thought on the other side, Jet Harrison was going to win that go route. It looked like he switched there into a little bit of a comeback, and I was jumping up and down saying go to Jet, but you find Simon Colberdino on that hitch. Jet Harrison obviously not open. Great progression there from Charlie Falk.
3rd and 3 here for the Hawks. Same squad out there. Novotny now off the line. Frisbee and Harrison on the left as well. And a flag is thrown.
I think it's offsides.
I'm hoping it's offsides.
I think the sideline official said it was offsides.
And the Hawks are moving forward. So are the Chains.
And St. Joe's and Charlie Falk normally does that hard count, and whenever he doesn't get it, he looks back to Coach Sugden for a play call. And if you're St. Joseph's Prep, you get that to work for, I believe, one of the first times this season.
As I was saying, same personnel on their own 32. Falk looks back at the sideline. He has Novotny, Harrison, Frisbee to his left, Colberdino solo on the right, and then the Monmouth man in the backfield. Falk looks to his left. He's going high, and it is intercepted again by Edwards. He goes sky high, hauls it in off the fingertips as Falk targets the sideline.
Yeah, and I don't think Charlie Falk read Jair Edwards there, as he was just, you know, kind of just fading back, waiting for Charlie Falk, lurking on him to, you know, throw the football, and Charlie Falk does. He thought he had Austin Frisbee, and he did have Austin Frisbee, but Jair Edwards was lurking there. Charlie Falk didn't read him, but I think this is going to be a penalty for excessive celebration on St. Francis.
Oh, that'll teach him.
And now 2 interceptions on the day for Charlie Falk, and both to Jair Edwards, actually, just proving why he is the 5-star. And yeah, that is a penalty for excessive celebration on St. Francis. So the good thing is that this is going to move him back to around the St. Joe's Prep 30-yard line, or 45-yard line, sorry, instead of the 30. So a bit of breathing room for St. Joe's Prep, but it is still on your side of the field.
You know, I've hyped up, Zion Ely so much. Edwards, you know, just top 30 in his class nationally.
Yeah,
Alabama
you
commit
know.
5-star.
Yeah.
Nothing much, really.
Yeah, nothing much at all, but it looks like it is there.
He will hand it to Brooks, who is mauled at the line of scrimmage. Gain of maybe half a yard.
Alex Haskell, you know, kind of missed there. Good job from St. Francis to block him up front. But then Brandon Lockley, he didn't let him go anywhere, as he kind of just lurked there at the line of scrimmage and delivered a really hard hit.
It's a Haskell special.
Yep. And Lockley. Got to come up with a name for that.
It's not ridiculous to say.
You know, we'll see if we can come up with a name throughout the broadcast. Or maybe we'll ask one of our guys to do it. Maybe we'll put someone on that assignment.
Yeah. That's club admission price.
I like that. I like that. And now let's get some switches here. St. Francis, they've really been using that H-back a lot in the backfield, even when they throw the football. But, I mean, they are a run-first team.
Yeah. Hill, Senior Brooks out there. You see Legee out there. Hill, he's going to take it up the gut after possibly looking to pitch it. He will get turned upside down after a gain of 3.
Yeah, that was an option there for Denari Hill, either pitch it or run. And, I mean, he just decided to run with it. I don't blame him. You know, they were all fading towards the sideline, and you had a bunch of Hawks near the sideline, but a good job from the linebackers of St. Joe's Prep, Brandon Lockley and others, to make the tackle throughout the middle.
See guys like Samir Edwards out there, Jesse Legree, guys who have been trying to get involved in the receiving aspect of this game, but it has mainly just been ground and pound for the Panthers. That's their identity as a squad. As Hill, play action, drops back the pass, tosses it across the middle, and man is hauled in by Mason Talley after 15 yards on the out route.
Yeah, it was a really high throw there from Denari Hill, but a nice grab there from Legree, and good catch, good run. Mason Talley looked like he got a bit shaken up there. Obviously, the miscommunication is, I don't know, not necessarily hasn't been a problem, but it definitely has been a factor in, some things happening for St. Joseph's Prep. But a decent throw, nice catch, get the first down.
Legree obviously came up big on the initial play as
Full start.
Antonio Smith runs his route before anyone else moves, and that will be a false start.
And if you're St. Joe's Prep, you got to start taking advantage here of these penalties. Obviously, you had third down, money down, 3rd and 5, but now you got to try and stop St. Francis here as a 2-score deficit against the number 4 team in America. Not going to be something that you want to see.
13-7 with a quick stop versus 20-7 or 21-7. I mean, that's just such a massive difference in terms of momentum.
Right. And now we hear the "you can't do that" chants from the student section.
About time we heard them.
Yeah.
Well, hands it off to Brooks.
Oh, no.
No, a flick out to the outside.
Holding.
It's
That's
Legree
holding.
yet again. Bubble screen. You're totally right. That was holding.
That was holding right
But that
there.
was pretty nice. Had me fooled.
Yeah, I mean, he did fool you there, Dom, as he faked the handoff, threw on the screen, the RPO, and once again, another holding call on St. Francis. And once again, you'll take it if you're St. Joseph's Prep, but I'm not sure if the referees are being picky or St. Francis is just necessarily holding, because the second that the ball carrier gets past the blockers and they're holding on to their jerseys, they call the penalty.
And I've had a word with the equipment manager or something. I mean, are their gloves too sticky? I mean, I don't know what's happening here.
I don't know.
It's just continued poor discipline that keeps pushing back the Panthers, who seem like they should be starting to kind of pull away on the offensive end. But the Prep defense, either they show up or the lack of discipline shows up for the Panthers.
Yeah, I mean, it could be one or the other. I don't know if you can call St. Francis an undisciplined team as being the number 4 team in the country. It just doesn't seem right.
Handoff to the outside. It's Brooks. He is sticked hard across the middle, then hit secondarily by Talley. Everyone in a scrum. He will finally get back to what the original line to gain was.
Yeah, maybe about 2
Not
yards.
even quite.
Yeah, the St. Francis now, I believe the St. Joseph's Prep 33-yard line. And Brooks, I mean, really nice run there. But St. Francis overcommitting to that one side and lets Brooks get to the outside between the ex-receiver and the offensive line. And a very risky move. They just let Alex Haskell go and just decided to focus on everybody else on the left side.
2nd and 12 here as Burke comes in for Brooks. You see they have been kind of operating similarly, as well as Brandon Wells-Dixon as the power back. You saw when they were running those stronger sets. But it's Edwards to the left. You see McGee out to the right. But Burke will take it up the middle, and he will have plenty of space. However, Brandon Lockley gets him on the ankle biter.
Yeah, a really great job from St. Francis to block in and just letting Brooks just run to the outside there. Great job to block inside from St. Francis, and you get past Logan Lindsay, the linebacker.
Lindsay stepping up big time in the absence of John Boggs, but is it enough? Burke, handoff, bounces it to the outside. He has a hole, hauled down yet again.
Burke, a really great move there on the outside, and they're just letting St. Joe's Prep pinch through the middle, and Colton Anderson, tried to make the tackle there in the backfield, but Burke was just right in front of him, and Anderson didn't really have much of a chance.
Yeah. Antonio Smith solo and press coverage on the left. It will not matter, though. Burke goes up the middle, gets swallowed up now.
And typically we see Burke try to bounce to the outside there, but it looked like he just wanted to ground and pound through the middle. And St. Joseph's Prep, I mean, if you're overcommitting to the middle, you probably should definitely make that tackle, and they were able to there.
I mean, to be honest, I didn't think he had the option to bounce to the outside. He was pretty quickly collapsed upon. Wonder if a play action is eventually coming here to try and subvert the Prep's expectations.
I think there's some miscommunication there from St. Joseph's Prep, and yeah, they jump off sides.
So a lot of finger pointing before the snap even came, and that's going to put the Hawks precariously close to letting the Panthers walk right down Broadway yet again here in the Zone 6 Football Classic.
And now if you're St. Joe's Prep, I mean, overcommitting to the middle doesn't really seem that bad right now. Obviously, St. Francis, it looks like they might be running through the middle. I doubt they pass. They've barely done it all game. So if you're St. Joe's Prep, you might need to clear the middle and just send everybody through the A-gap.
It's not ridiculous to say. It's a reason. Reason will take his Burke takes it, stacked line, but he is going to pass this time. Hit as he throws, does not matter. It is hauled in on the end zone slant by Jermaine Smith Jr., who finds himself with a yard of separation.
Well, I was 100% wrong there, Don.
Told you they had to subvert it at some point.
They threw the pass there, and it looked like St. Joe's Prep gave everybody inside leverage. And, well, when you give somebody inside leverage, they're going to take advantage of it. A great play call there from St. Francis. They realized that the Prep were giving them inside leverage. Slant, most likely 100% of the time, is going to be an easy touchdown.
Exactly. It is now muffed extra point. Are they trying to fake it?
No, they just...
That was just awful. Multiple flags are down. We'll see what that's for.
I think they just messed up the snap there, and the long snapper just tried to take it himself, but I don't know what these flags are for.
Hope it's not against a Prep somehow.
I would doubt they would be.
But it came right as a tackle happened on the holder, and they're staying out there. Is it from a face mask?
They do call a face mask.
Told you.
What? Against who?
The header came, I think it was Italian. It was one of the two who came around on him. I just saw the holder's head whip around, and I thought, that can't be good, and then two flags came in.
I didn't really see the face mask from our angle, but...
I mean, we are in kind of a sky press box here at Franklin Field. Nice digs, unless you get a splinter.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, that wouldn't be too appealing, but they're going for two.
Exactly, trying to go a nice round, 21-7. Hill will take it for himself. He's going to the outside. Trots right down Broadway.
Yeah, that's just a great play from Denari Hill. You see that the Prep, once again, committing through the middle. He just takes it on the outside, and a great cut on the inside from Denari Hill. Looked like he was going to take the edge, cuts inside, realizes that he's got the advantage, takes advantage of that, and he gets in for two.
So, you know, Hawks down here now 21-7, 3 minutes, 11 seconds left here in the first half at Franklin Field. Zone 6 Football Classic, best of PA clashing with the best of Maryland. Ryan, what have you seen so far? I mean, Prep obviously still in this game, but what do they need to adjust in order to really propel themselves back into more active contention?
I think right now, there's a lot of maybe overcommitting towards the middle, and that has been the result of St. Francis bouncing to the outside and, making plays. So I think if you are St. Joe's Prep, you just want to, not overcommit to the middle, maybe, be a little more conservative, stay in your zone and, just back up a little bit.
Kyle Almond with the kick return there, pushes it up to the 22-yard line.
But offensively, if you're St. Joseph's Prep, I mean, nothing necessarily is that you're doing what is bad. I just think maybe, the reading, the communication needs to get a little bit better. We've seen Charlie and his receivers not really be on the same page on some plays, evidently on the first interception, and not really on the second interception. It just wasn't the greatest read from Charlie Falk, but obviously I think he'll make up for that.
Falk, obviously you saw how he bloomed in the second half of last year after a shaky start, hoping that form can return to him. Billups bounces it off initial contact only manages to get about 3.
Yeah, I think I saw his face mask get grabbed a little bit there, Dom. I mean, it looked like he was kind of his momentum was shifting in a different way than his head was, but no call there. So
This guy got a 2 for a makeup call.
Yeah, no, what they would say makeup call, but that's all right. See what they can do here.
Top 3 wideouts out for the Hawks. Novotny on the line to the right. Falk, he looks back at coordinator Sugden. You know, Zion Ely, we haven't seen him exactly wreck the game yet, although he's certainly been a formidable presence.
I think they're giving them
So a
him
bit
help.
of pressure. He's going to roll out, and he will just toss it to the ground, incomplete.
Yeah, I mean, the play was a little dead. Charlie knew he was getting pressured, had to get to the outside, but nobody really there. Just have to throw it away. It looked like his receivers were kind of running down the field of the play that was supposed to develop pretty quickly.
Yeah, Falk just was not in sync with the rest of the squad there. As you see, 28 Logan Darisol come out there at halfback.
And Darisol, somebody I think is pretty good on blitz pickup. We'll see if he picks up Zion Ely here on the side with Dave Contreras.
Many would say the strongest in our prep running back room.
Yeah.
We have Harrison Solo on the right. Novotny, Colberdino, Frisbee. Falk evades the pressure, gets a man off him, tosses it over the head of Alston Frisbee.
Yeah, I mean, and they did not give Dave Contreras any help there on Zion Ely, who got to Charlie Falk pretty quickly. And I don't even think Frisbee was really close to the first down marker. I think it was a play that the prep, you were expecting the receivers to just get it and go. Obviously, the play could not develop with Charlie Falk not having much time in the pocket. That obviously is what happened, so the prep go 3 and out.
You know, honestly would have liked to see Falk kind of tuck and run there, see if he could make something happen. But now at their own 26-yard line, the Hawks are ready to punt. Hopefully a better snap this time so Blake Shoulder can get it away clean. Rob Novotny, the long snapper. Hit Shoulder right in the numbers. Gets a beautiful boot away. It will land on Francis' 40-yard line, and it is returned, being bounced to the outside. Finally wrapped up by Brandon Lockley on the Hawks' 46, but a flag is down.
It came at the end of the play. I'm not sure what this call is.
See where the flag positions these two squads. 2-minute drill here for St. Francis on a bit of a short field.
Now they pick it up. They pick up the flag. Maybe that.
Well,
I have no clue.
3 ghosts visit them.
I guess they're just gonna play.
Refs decide to be generous there.
Yeah, they pick it up. I mean, great tackle though by Brandon Lockley chasing down the returner Legri, and a great job from Lockley just to bring him down from behind and wrap up those ankles.
Ankle biter.
Yeah.
My favorite types of tackles.
That is my least favorite type of tackle, actually.
Oh, because you had to take them?
Yeah, sure.
Aired out to Nari Hill. He is looking deep down the field, and it is bobbled out of the hands of Jalen Burrell, who had free real estate down the sideline.
Great job there from...
right in the breadbasket from Hill.
Yeah, I mean, a great job there from Denari Hill, and a great job from Burrell to create that separation late on Samaj Hill. And I don't know if he got wide enough on the post, but a great job there from Samaj Hill. Maybe he heard the footsteps coming. I'm not necessarily sure, but we saw it last week for St. Francis against John Bosco. Some drop passes were, you could say the reason that they didn't prevail in that game, and they give up a touchdown on that one.
3 wide and Brooks in the backfield, but Hill will choose to tuck and run. He reaches the second level before he is hit hard, brought down by half of the Hawks defense.
Yeah, the prep once again going through the middle, but a great job from St. Francis to block in. And then Denari Hill, he goes out left, and nobody really there on the second level. The prep sending a couple extra men there on the rush, and now money down.
Money down indeed. It is a 3rd and 2 on the Hawks' 38-yard line. Timeout called. You see a St. Francis coach.
Yeah, very angry. I think it might have been a personnel thing. or a formation thing. He's kind of, it looks like he's yelling at Burrell there. He might have not been lined up right, or he could have possibly been off the line of scrimmage. Maybe he didn't check with the ref or something. That's really the only reasons I can think of.
I mean, makes sense to take a timeout there. I mean, 3rd and 2 here, minute 18 left. This is likely the most impactful play really left in this first half.
Yeah, I mean, if you're St. Francis, you want to try and get this first down, then you can kind of milk the clock in your favor. I'm not necessarily sure with this time left. You got 2 timeouts against the St. Joe's Prep defense that, you know, is trying to get to the quarterback. And you know, if you are St. Francis, not much of a throwing team, so you can maybe try and milk this clock in a way to get a field goal. So we'll see if they can do that here, but this 3rd down is crucial for both teams.
100%. I mean, this is what determines if St. Francis can just wait the clock out in scoring possession, or if the Hawks get one last shot at a 1-minute drill.
Yeah, we'll see if they can do so. I mean, I don't know. St. Francis, maybe they'll go for it here on 4th down if they can, you know, if they don't get it here on 3rd.
Motion from Burke to the outside. It's Hill solo in the backfield. Heavy pressure comes in, and it is an incomplete pass. Nearly intercepted, but it is 4th down, and the clock stops at 1:15. Will the offense stay out there, or will the Hawks get one more guaranteed shot?
I don't think St. Francis is a team that, or no, they are going to send on the punt team. I'm surprised, but getting back to the play, a great job from Ashton Joseph to get there on the rush. He had nobody in front of him, didn't hesitate, just ran right at Denari Hill, trusted his other teammates to make the tackle if he didn't. But a great job there from Ashton Joseph to force Denari Hill to not throw, originally, to hesitate, and now the Hawks are
I take back everything that I said. They are staying back out there.
Oh, this is an interesting play.
Everyone in the backfield are on the line. Dixon up the middle. He is sticked by Jacquez.
Oh, let's see.
Oh, look at the spot. No, he did not get that.
Yeah, I don't think they got. I think they got the stop.
Did not get it. I believe that was Daryl Jacquez on the absolute stick to the hips of Dixon.
What did I say in the first game? Daryl can hit, and he showed it off there. I mean, they just went like it was an Oklahoma drill down there on the line. A great job from Daryl Jacquez. He got low, and he was able to, and it looked like Brooks, he continued to drive. But Daryl Jacquez, fundamentally great there from him. Stayed low, stayed on his hips, bringing him back, and a great tackle. And now you got a minute for St. Joe's Prep. I mean, you got some good field goal kickers in Luke Cochran and Blake Stolder. Let's see if they could possibly contribute here if the Prep can get far.
Folk, he's looking to the sideline for Jet Harrison. No good, but a flag is thrown. I believe that will be
that's pass
defensive penalty right there.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you want to try and draw if you're St. Joseph's Prep. You want to try and get those pass interference calls. And obviously the deep ball not necessarily has been working. Obviously, Jet Harrison took a 5-yard slant for a touchdown, but the deep ball, you know, you want to try and get Ryloon Henry to maybe stop with the pressure and actually, or let's see, are they going to?
Yeah, just a 20th player nationally, 2nd player in Maryland.
Yeah, you want to try and get him to maybe lay off the aggression. So if you can get him to possibly, you know, commit some penalties, you'll definitely take it.
You can't do that, Chance. Raining out from the Prep student section.
And now another penalty flag down, just thrown. I think they just threw one on St. Francis's coach, who was arguing with the official.
And some other coaches rushing over there.
I think it might have been an assistant coach. I'm not sure if it might have been their head coach. I'm not necessarily sure, but all I know is that they threw a flag on one of the St. Francis's coaches.
All I know is they should keep that ball moving towards their end zone.
Yeah, so the Prep going to get an extra 15 yards there, and now this is if they do call this, then I don't know, this could possibly knock the Prep into field goal range. They're at where they are currently after the Henry flag. They're at the St. Francis 49-yard line. So it could possibly drive him in the field goal range with a couple extra yards off the extra penalty with the coach.
I mean, the difference between 41-21 would be so massive. Really would just be crucial to drive it in. And we're back on WSJP.
So they actually didn't call the penalty on the coach, I believe.
They
They might have picked it up.
would have liked that yardage, but they have to talk it out.
And now I think there's
Billups.
a problem with the chains.
Billups. With the chain. Darrisaw will come out now. It's Falk, Darrisaw. You see Harrison solo on the right. And then it's the classic Colberdino, Frisbee, Novotny, 3 wide to the left.
I don't want to be that guy, but Kion, I don't know. I think somebody I'm not going to say names because I didn't really see, but I think somebody might have vomited out there.
I do see them mopping that up. Oh, well, that's like a second time.
Well, I mean, it's football. It's a tough game. It makes it makes you test your cardio, and that's just something that happens.
Is that why you stopped playing?
No, no, but I'm just saying, like, it's something that happens. I honestly, my nose,
absolutely.
that no sounded so unconvincing.
Yeah, I'm sorry for that.
And
But
actually,
yeah, you're absolutely correct. I mean, football, not to state the obvious, very physically grueling game.
the Prep actually have 1st and 15 right now. I don't know what the penalty was on them, but they have 1st and 15. Just noticing
Poor
that.
communication. Darrisaw out there. Same setup with the wide receivers and Novotny. Falk will take
Oh, that's
it.
offsides.
And it is offsides for St. Francis. Number 9, Alexander Taylor.
And Taylor, I actually am a big fan of him. I think he'll be a 4-star in no time. He's currently listed as a 3-star, but he is someone who is so fast off the edge, and you saw he was very committed there.
Bit too fast off the edge.
Yeah, a bit too fast trying to get the Charlie Falk, but now if you're the Prep, you get those yards back, and now the officials take a timeout.
The officials appear to want to be here forever.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a good game so far. Maybe they're listening to WSJP.
I'd want to stay long and listen to Ryan Sullivan.
I mean,
I'm sure they're listening. I'm sure.
I'm sure they are. I think that this is the best place to listen.
Yeah, but I mean, Hawks now in St. Francis territory, dangerously penetrating it by a single yard on the Panthers' 49.
Yeah, so now you get those yards back if you're St. Joseph's Prep, and I really didn't know why the Prep had 1st and 15. It really didn't make much sense to me, but
Still above a minute on the clock somehow.
but they get the yards back, and I don't know why we're on break here. I think there's a problem with the chains. Yeah, definitely was a problem with the chains. That's why the officials were stopping, and it looks like we're getting ready to go.
I'd love to be going.
Yeah, I mean, the Prep have had had somewhat of momentum, and there is still a problem with the chains. Now they're moving them back, or maybe they're getting new chains. I'm not sure.
It is a 1st and 5.
Hold on. So there wasn't actually a penalty on St. Joe's Prep. They just had the chains there for no reason.
Oh,
They just
sweet.
had the chains there on the 15 yards back for no reason.
Well, that'll happen, I suppose.
All right, so now 1st and 5.
Same setup yet again for the Hawks, except the Billups is in. Falk looks back towards the sideline. He's ready to deliver here. Panthers 49, 1st and 5. Massive play for the Hawks, looking to get back within 1 possession. Falk looking to his left. Now he's going to step up in the pocket. Big horse collar, face mask, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
A very illegal tackle from Alexander Taylor.
Yeah, I mean, Taylor, as I mentioned, really, really quick off the edge, and he got very excited. Obviously just had that offsides penalty, and he just ripped the face mask of Charlie Falk. That's not even a grab of the face mask. I mean, that is just even something extra. But
That's that Roy Williams type. Just got in there. Massive snag across the face mask.
yeah, but
Cannot be good for the whiplash.
if you're St. Joe's Prep, you'll definitely take those penalty yards, but you also want to try and get that momentum in your back pocket when it comes to getting your own yards. And the Prep somewhat in field goal range. I'm not sure if Blake Shoulder can, maybe hit this, maybe around 40-yard field goal. But the Prep, you definitely want to try and get these yards here. You got 47 seconds and counting with 3 timeouts.
Hawks on the 34. Plenty of timeouts to go. Falk, he'll toss it down to the flat for Billups on the screen. He'll get the first down. He's into the red zone. Hawks, will they call a timeout? They will.
And St. Joe's Prep, they're now using St. Francis's momentum against them. You just had the offsides call. You just had the face mask. They are very, very excited. They want to get to Charlie Folk. They overcommit. They let the offensive line do their thing. Get out in the back. Get out on the line of scrimmage. You deliver it a little bit to Kion Billups. Get those offensive linemen in front of you. Kion Billups, a great run, letting the blockers work in front of him, not being an unselfish player, playing as a team player. Gets that first down, extra yardage. Hawks on the 18-yard line in the red zone.
Hawks offense coming alive here. Charlie Folk, he's leading with composure despite the heavy pressure in the pocket from guys like Taylor and Ely. And it's just continued poise that is really going to keep the Prep in this game. The Prep contending with one of the best teams in the nation.
You also have to bring up that St. Francis is going to get the ball in the second half, so points here, even a field goal, are crucial for St. Joe's Prep. But based off the fact that it is a two-score game and a field goal would keep it that way, you really want that touchdown.
Not agree more. You see the classics coming back out there. Still going to be Harrison solo on the right against Henry.
If I'm the Prep, I'm eventually looking for that Jet Harrison fade route one-on-one with Henry, but it looks like they're going to give him a bit of help.
The safety shading towards Harrison. He will. Folks going to step up against the pressure yet again. He's going to choose to take off and scramble and get speared hard by number 33, Jariah Miles.
Yeah, that was a hit from Miles. Absolutely incredible there. I mean, it's legal, but it was definitely a very hard hit on Charlie Folk. And Miles, a senior, picked up a offer from Charlotte. I mean, he is an explosive player. He has a very high football IQ. He knows where the ball is going to be 100% of the time, and he knew it was going into the hands of Charlie Folk. He knew he was going to keep it, and he delivers a massive hit. Very good fundamental hit from Miles. But now if you're the Prep, I just mentioned you only have 3 timeouts. Well, you've just played 2 plays and you've burned 2 of them. So you got to find a way to, even if you keep the clock running, you got to get to the line. You might have to spike it, saying you maybe get close or actually get that first down. But if you are the Prep, you got to find a way to save your timeouts, and maybe you try to go to the end zone on one of these 2 plays.
Yeah. 27 seconds. 2nd and 8 at the Panthers' 16. Big play here, upcoming for the Hawks. Folk, I think kind of the hope might have been that Billups would have became a blocker out of the backfield, but he seemed to have gone out wider, looking to be kind of a dump-off pass for Folk, who eventually decided to tuck and run.
Well, I think it was good communication there from Kion Billups. He knew that Charlie Folk was probably going to take it, so he just got out and tried to make a block on somebody. So give Kion more credit as due on that one.
Exactly. You see Folk, you have Novotny and Colberdino to the right. Harrison and Frisbee on the left. Harrison goes in motion. Billups in the backfield. Folk steps up under pressure. Zion Ely, he evades him. Sean Molly gets him out the way. Folk, back corner in the end zone. Jet Harrison on the right side pylon.
What a play from Charlie Folk. Had Zion Ely off the edge, comes back around to the right side. Jet Harrison was in motion. Dom, I was hitting you before the play, saying Jet Harrison, that's where they're going to. He was right in motion, came from the X, went into the slot, stayed on his route, communicates there with Charlie Folk. It looked like he was just going to run a simple drag, but then he fades back into the end zone. Charlie Folk finds him. Jet knew he was going to. Touchdown, St. Joe's Prep.
Incredible composure by Folk. He shakes the Titan, Zion Ely, off his shoulder. Sean Molly then takes him out of the equation. And Jet Harrison sitting wide in the end zone. What more can you want? As the Hawks get ready to boot this extra point away. It is up. It is good. Hawks now 14-21 within a possession of the national powerhouse, St. Francis.
That momentum switch can be very crucial going into the first half, but even with 17 seconds, the 1 timeout, you got to lock in before you go into the break. You can't ride the high momentum. But, I mean, we got to go back to that play with Charlie Folk and Jet Harrison. I mean, I don't really know if there's much more to say about it than what I did. But once again, Charlie Folk, I mean, he just evaded that tackle beautifully. Got just wrapped around. It looked like he was going to rush through the left side, comes back to the right. And Jet, I mean, the fact that Jet knew where Charlie was going to be, when he was fading into the end zone from his original route. It's just incredible connection between both guys, and there's so much to that play to make it work. It's just an incredible play from both players.
We are back here on WSJP, of roaring student section compared to a sparse St. Francis area. Luke Cochran ready to send it away.
A roaring student section, I think, would be the understatement.
Cochran lets it fly, and it will bounce out for a touchback off the official.
And he thought about throwing the flag there. He took it out, but yeah, I mean, that definitely went into the end zone. And that was close, though. It barely went right behind the pylon. So you get lucky there for St. Joe's Prep and don't really give St. Francis an opportunity to get to the 40-yard line and maybe try and get in the field goal range.
Yeah, Cochran obviously kicked one out of bounds earlier on a kickoff. Not what you want to see from his more line drive style kicks, but beneficial right there. So you see the Hawks vaunted defense coming out. 17 seconds left. Just have to avoid any sort of miracles, any sort of ridiculous plays that may come to fruition. Oh. In the backfield, it is Brooks. He stiff arms a man and is driven back quickly by Jay Nitz. And now everyone gets in on it. Tackle for loss of about 5.
Yeah, Brooks tried to make something out of nothing. Got a nice stiff arm on Shuley, evaded Jason Nitz's tackle, but by the time the Prep 11 hats to the ball, that's something that they practice, and everybody was in the backfield. That's a great way to end the half if you're St. Joe's Prep, and you got to have this momentum, and now this seems like they have it against St. Francis, but St. Francis is going to get the ball in the second half. We'll see what the Hawks defense can do coming out of the break.
Obviously, it has been a very eventful first half here at the legendary Franklin Field as your St. Joe's Prep Hawks down only 7 to a top 5 team in the nation, 14-21 against the Panthers of St. Francis. Dominic Schalk on play-by-play, joined by Ryan Sullivan on color commentary. We thank you for tuning into this first half, and we implore you to stick around for Hawk Talk at the half. Be back in just a bit.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Hawk Talk at the Half. I am Anthony Correa, and with me I have AJ Farrington and Mark Jameson. How are we doing today, boys?
Feeling good.
Great, that's great. How about you, AJ?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. I mean, I'm feeling really good about this game so far. I think the prep played very, very well, especially just recently, and I think spirits are high.
All right, so let's get into it, gentlemen. Well, so what do you guys think about the first half? Obviously, both teams have made some mistakes, but it's been a really great first half. Mark, let's hear what you got.
I think St. Francis came out pretty good out of the first quarter, but at the end, the prep was doing pretty good. They got a touchdown from Jet Harrison.
I think it's been pretty even so far. Like Mark said, definitely a little bit of that edge towards St. Francis, especially during the beginning. Pretty good job at establishing the run game and a strong effort on defense as well in that secondary. 2 interceptions as we saw. But St. Joe's Prep kind of drawing a couple penalties, and in those last, those dwindling seconds of the game in the first half, really coming back, making a huge momentum play to go into the halftime. I mean, if you're in that locker room, you got to be feeling really good about yourself right now.
I absolutely agree with you guys. And talking about Jet Harrison, just as Mark was saying, Jet Harrison had 2 great touchdowns. First play, the first touchdown play, 76 yards, broke 2 tackles, I believe it was, and made his way down into the end zone. Mark, let's hear what you had to say about this.
I think just the speed provided the touchdown. He made past one guy, and then he was just gone because of the speed.
Yeah, I mean, on top of that speed as well, he established position in front of the corner there. And, he made that catch first thing he did. As soon as that's in his hands, he turns his hips, right? He opens right towards the sideline. That's a hard tackle to make because he's changing his figure as you're moving with him, allowing for that broken tackle. And then once he got away, he got his head down into space, and, I mean, he's kind of rolling like a freight train there, straight into the end zone.
Absolutely agree with you, gentlemen. And then we also have the second receiving touchdown by Jet Harrison, with Charlie Falk under immense pressure from that defensive line, scrambling around the pocket, and then out of nowhere, just like a miracle, finding Jet Harrison in the end zone. I want to hear your guys' opinions on that.
I think that was an awesome play from Charlie. He made past 1 tackle, and then Jet was wide open in the end zone, and pretty nice throw down there.
Yeah, I think that was just a fantastic show of improvisation there. Pardon. We saw him step up first, try to get away from the pressure. Nothing was there. He dropped back. He actually turned his back complete. It looked like he was going to roll out left, but he spun around. And I'm going to give credit to Sean Molly. Fantastic block on the end to keep the pressure away at that last moment. And then he rolled back out right. And Jet Harrison in the back of the end zone by himself. I mean, the man in coverage was sitting at the front. He must have had 6 or 7 yards of separation. And that was just a fantastic find for him there.
Absolutely agree with you guys there. And let's also talk about some of the misplays by both sides. First off, 2 interceptions by Charlie Falk after his first passing touchdown. I want to hear what you guys think about that.
I just didn't think he had enough time. The first throw just didn't reach his point, and then same with the second one, but also 2 amazing plays by the defense at St. Francis.
Yeah, I mean, if we look at those interceptions, first off, it's like you got to look at the design of the play, right? That throw was kind of where it was supposed to be. It was a pretty complex offensive set there, and you're not expecting the corner to sit. They're waiting for him to follow, and just he stayed instead. Great discipline, a good job from him. Just make that play. And then the second was just kind of a athletically freakish play. I mean, he jumped up. I know you guys have probably seen that video of DK Metcalf. I think it was 2 years ago, jumping 30,000 feet in the air, making that grab. I mean, it kind of looked like that a little bit. I don't even know if you could put that on Charlie necessarily, because that's a pretty solid throw. That's just a fantastic play by the corner.
Absolutely agree with you there, AJ. Great play by the corner. That cornerback was Jair Edwards. One of the top-ranked defenders in the country and players alone, too. Absolutely amazing athlete out there on the field defending against Charlie Falk, who's also a great athlete and a great quarterback. And then we also have a few other guys getting some passes, too, like Austin Frisbee and Simon Colberdino. Austin Frisbee not getting involved as much in the plays as he usually is, like last game, where he had a 50-plus yard reception that put the prep into scoring position. and only having a 1 catch for 14 yards, guys. So what do you guys think about that?
I think they're going to need to get more passing to the wide receivers, and they got to get the run game going for the second half.
Yeah, I think we got to look at this this quality in the secondary of St. Francis. Austin Frisbee had a great game last week, 2 weeks ago, pardon. But fantastic coverage overall from the St. Francis team. I don't think you can fault him too much on that. Charlie hasn't had a ton of time back there either to find him, and they've been really jumping on. It was mentioned earlier. Campanero, I think, mentioned that he was running a lot of those drags and those outs, and St. Francis doing a really good job sometimes in those flats, taking away those short passes. So I think it's just been about the game plan and really the guys on the other end stopping him, and less so about him as a whole.
Yeah, amazing analysis, guys. And then we also have Kion Billups, 6 carries for 17 yards. Not the running play. The running game isn't going off the ground as much as you think it would. What do you guys think about that one?
I think the running game is going to be a key factor for the second half. If they can get it going, I really think they can come back and win this game.
Yeah, I think I would tend to agree with that. I mean, establishing the running game is always, really priority number 1 for most offenses, I think we can say, in the sport of football, because, it really opens up everything else for it if it's your quarterback running or if, it's the passing game. I think this is an incredibly talented defensive line. I mean, we're looking at all front 4 guys. I mean, ridiculous, really, just how talented this team is. But like I mentioned in the pregame, all it takes is one, and if he gets into that space, gets through a hole, he has that ability to take it all the way. So I am not too concerned as well either. I think they'll have the ability to establish this running game as this goes on.
Totally agree with you there, guys. And then we also have, what do you guys think about Charlie Folk and the coaches not letting him really sling the ball downfield as he usually does with that great arm of his? Personally, I think maybe now in the second half, see what they can do with that, since they've been throwing more short passes than they have been throwing deeper passes. But what do you guys think about that?
I think the coaches are being more cautious in the first half because they have great players like Edwards on defense. So I think in the second half, they should keep throwing the ball, but farther.
Yeah, I think, one of the things about these deep passes is they take some time to develop. They need to make sure that you got that edge. I mean, we saw Jed Harrison, he made that play. That wasn't really a long pass necessarily, but if you watch him, especially, watch at the top of your screen on those one-on-one matchups. He's getting that shoulder, but there's going to take a little bit of time to develop, and that's going to need a little bit more time in the pocket for Charlie, which we haven't seen a ton of so far. So I think the prep offense hasn't been, I think they've been rolling pretty well. I think it's just also been about taking what you're given. With such a talented team like this St. Francis team, it's as much about what they're giving, allowing you to have, as anything else in particular.
Great analysis, guys. Absolutely agree with your opinions there. And then going to the defensive side, first play of the game, we have Logan Lindsay, who makes his first start today in place of John Boggs, who is currently injured. Lindsay on the first play with a tackle for a loss. What do you guys think about that?
I think he really stepped up. He has 2 tackles this game, which is important, but I think he really stepped up as his replacement.
Yeah, I think we always talk about that next man up mentality, and that was a great embodiment of that there. We know this St. Joe's Prep football team has talent everywhere, and he's showing it there, and that was a great way to step up. And if you're plugging in for the first time, I think making that play is a really good way to sort of feel in the rest of the game. If you come out hot like that and really change the game, that's a great way to cement yourself and really feel as a part of the defense moving forward.
Absolutely agree with you there, AJ. Second man up mentality. Absolutely just using your talent on the field as much as you can to show the coaches that you got it right there with that tackle. And boys, I think that is all the time that we have for now on Hawk Talk at the half. Ladies and gentlemen, do not go anywhere. The game will be back on in 2 minutes. We will see you soon back on there with Ryan Sullivan and the other guys back on, like Dom Schalk too. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back.
We are back here for the second half. Luke Cochran ready to kick it away. Hawks down just 7. It is 14-21, and this clash of the National Titans, of the Mid-Atlantic Titans, the St. Joe's Prep Hawks, and the St. Francis Academy Panthers. Panthers ready to receive, Hawks ready to continue the momentum.
And we'll see
Here at Franklin Field.
I'm sorry I cut you off. I thought you were done
you're
there,
good.
Dom. But anyway, yeah, St. Joe's Prep taking advantage of St. Francis. Got a little lackadaisical there in the end zone at the end. And we'll see now if the Hawks can fully swing the momentum in their favor.
Cochran lets it fly. It's his best kickoff of the day, deep into the end zone.
Yeah, and that's what you want to start with if you're St. Joe's Prep. Maybe it was a bit of that adrenaline boost for Luke Cochran that pushed that into the end zone. Obviously, you don't want to return to start. You want to give a defense the chance to come onto the field with not much, I would say pressure, honestly.
Absolutely. Have to agree right there. I mean, the Hawks defense, really both sides of the ball have shown up big time so far in that second quarter. Really started to click in sync with each other. But right now, it's about maintaining that pace and not collapsing in the second half like they've done in the past 2 games.
100%. If you're the Hawks, you got to come out here and make a statement.
Pitch to the outside. It's Jalen Burke. He is going to be shoved out of bounds by Jacques.
I honestly thought they were going to call a holding call there in the backfield. I mean, they were, once he got past, once Brooks got past the blockers, they held on to the defensive backs for St. Joe's Prep for just a little bit. So I thought they were going to call, but they let him go there.
Yeah, and just a full-on toss to Burke right there, who's really been sharing that backfield with Brooks. But it'll be Burke yet again. He's wrapped up in the backfield. Colton Anderson.
And a great job there from Anthony Shuley, who really made that play, got in the backfield, forced Brooks to, hesitate there at the line of scrimmage, and then everybody able to get off their block. You can't expect the offensive line to block forever. Then everybody gets into the backfield. Jay Nitz and Alex Haskell alike to finish the play up.
Exactly, incredible effort from the whole front 4.
Money down.
Exactly, 3rd and 7 here. On their own 23 is St. Francis. Hill, 1
Hard
to his
count.
left. An extra blocker on the line.
Tried the hard count there, didn't get it to work.
No dice. Still Burke in the backfield. And then 2 to the right. See what they do here. Hill is going to shuffle out, going to try and do an option, but he is quickly stuffed and will toss it out of bounds. And it's going to be a 3-and-out to start the second half.
I talked a lot how the Prep, they've committed to that A-gap through the middle, but this time they play a little bit more conservative. They've let guys go on the outside, not necessarily pinching through the A-gap. So a great job there from Logan Lindsay, just rushing to Noah Hill, not really caring if he pitched it or not, and he ended up having it to work there, and he's able to get to Noah Hill to throw an incomplete pass.
Exactly, incredible pressure right there. Hawks special teams, hopefully they can make an impact.
Yeah, let's see. I mean, a good return here from Kyle Almond to set up the offense would be incredible. It looks like they're really going to try and block this punt.
I haven't seen a classic punt block in a while. A flag is thrown. Punt is fair caught right at the 50. We will see what the penalty is. Bit of shoving after the play. Nothing called there.
Yeah, I mean, this is a close game between 2 really great teams. I think this is going against St. Francis.
I'm inclined to say so as well, but the ball right now is dead center on the Quakers logo.
Maybe they're picking up. I think, they're talking to Coach Roken, asking maybe, maybe Coach Roken's asking what's happened, but let's see if they make a call. It was just an illegal formation from St. Francis. The Prep will decline. They don't want the reap kick.
Oh, absolutely. Not worth it, especially on the punt. It's a bit short right there. Almond had to come up and grab it on the fair catch.
Well, not even that. I think you just want to keep that momentum going. You don't want to force the punt team to come back out there. I'm sure the offense is hopped up and ready to go.
Exactly. It's just not good for the momentum of the squad, as you've said.
Yep.
Charlie Folk coming back out there, living up to the nickname C4. He has been explosive so far, slinging the ball. However, this time he will hand it up to Kai Billups. he plunges forward and is stopped right at the line of scrimmage.
Well, originally the offensive line did a pretty good job of opening up a hole for Kion, but then the rest of St. Francis's defense, we forget that there's a second level. Those guys came flying into the first level and are able to take down Kion through the gap.
Exactly. Really impressive effort from the second level of St. Francis. Obviously, a very strong first level. I mean, I think Zion Ely's one to himself.
Yeah, yeah, you could definitely make that argument there, Dom.
He's on that left edge, matched up with Sean Miley, who has done a great job protecting so far on that blind side. Falk gets it out quickly under pressure, hit along the legs as he throws. Short intended Robin Novotny.
Well, under pressure is definitely an understatement. The second he got the ball, he was immediately under pressure, and he knew he had to get out of the pocket there. But it was a spread set there. Everybody was spread out, not much communication there. And
PA guy stealing Ryan Sullivan, saying money
well,
down.
it's not really my saying. It's actually
That's
the
not
Preps
quite.
football sayings, but I've introduced it to the broadcast. You
You've said it so much.
I have said it so much, you might as well give it to me. But see, money down is only for when the defense has it on third down. Not when the prep has it on third down. That is, I don't think he understood it.
Yeah, let me commentate here. 3rd and 11. Falk steps up, heavy pressure in the pocket, dumps it to Billups in the flat. He makes a man miss, gets hit hard back and forth. Willis Dixon, the man pulling double duty today.
I think, the prep, they got to go for it here. It's 4th and short, 4th and 1. I don't even think Charlie Falk even looked for the sideline to see if they were going to punt. Everybody knew they were going for it. You got to figure out a way to get this first down here. There's no reason to punt.
Wilson on, Colberdino off.
So
Bit
now,
of a stronger look.
So that kind of tells me that they might be running this here. Obviously now with Jake Wilson as the H-back, they might just try and plunge it through the middle, have Wilson maybe go to the second level on the A-gap. You see St. Francis is going to stack that.
And it is stacked heavily. Billups up the gut. He pushes, second effort. Very close, but it looks like it's going to be no good.
Well, yeah, there's the stack on the second level for you. St. Francis easily just got right by St. Joseph's Prep offensive line, and not really much you can do there. The power of St. Francis overbearing to St. Joe's Prep.
And here comes Denari Hill and the Panthers offense. Hill been very impactful so far today. He's made great use of both his legs and his arm. Great dual threat operating with his constantly changing backfield. Right now it's Burke who will hand it off to. Burke makes a cut, gets into the second level. Jacquez, main tackler there, as Burke gets 9.
Originally, I thought the Prep were going to get that play in the backfield. You saw Jason Nitz get back there, and it looked like it was going to be a successful play, but then Burke once again said, you know what, I'm just not going to go through my assigned gap. I'm just going to bounce to the outside, and it's been working, and he continues to go to the well, and he's getting water every time.
Absolutely great elusiveness showcased. Hill will keep it for himself after faking the handoff. Screaming up the side, and he is going to go all the way. The tight end, Damon Hall, off the fake handoff to Burke in the motion, burst around both the safeties and shows that open field agility.
Well, typically on the RPO, we either see the handoff or we see Denari Hill just taking himself. We don't really see him throw the football that often, and he obviously did that there, getting it to the tight end Hall, and he just does a really great job utilizing his speed and power to break free from Daryl Jacquez, and had nobody else in front of him but Jacquez, and you get the touchdown out of that.
And Jacquez has been exceptional so far in those open field tackling scenarios, having quite a few important ones today, but he just can't do it all the time. Hall showcasing his talent and making it work, as there is yet another block, this time by Messiah Acree.
No, it wasn't Messiah. I thought Mason Talley also got in there as well. Maybe I think we were both right about that, but yeah, maybe it was Messiah. But once again, the Prep's doing a really great job making sure that those field goals are blocked, and very fast coming off that edge. You love to see it if you're St. Joe's Prep. Obviously, that touchdown hurts, but definitely that blocked field goal can maybe get that confidence back.
And the Hawks can fight from behind. They did it previously so far in this game and managed to stick with them. Just have to continue to persevere.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, the defense, they've obviously, suffered a bit of struggles when it comes to, the tackling in the open field and stuff like that. But for the most part, I think it's been decent to say the very least. And definitely the offense, you just got to find ways to, match the aggression of St. Francis. And they've done it on a lot of occasions. No reason why they can't do it again.
Gonna have to agree with you there. You see Alston Frisbee and Messiah Acree now out to return.
And once again, Messiah, somebody I would never want to see returning the football on a high school team. I mean, he has just been really, really good at returning the ball. We'll see if he does so here.
Frisbee and Acree, both very explosive players, ready to make an impact. Bit of a squib kick line drive received by Acree within the 5, and he's going to be brought down by the first wave of defenders. Doesn't even make it back to the 20.
Yeah, I mean, that was just a really great job from St. Francis. Messiah went up the middle. I think he was expecting those blockers to, block, but obviously St. Francis, they get through pretty handily, and they take them down.
You are the chosen one.
And now we'll see here what the Prep's offense can do. I think right now, if you're St. Joe's Prep, 8:31 remaining in this third quarter. I think, you might need to start going a little bit more to the pass game just because of the fact that, it's a 2-score game. If you continue to run the ball here, St. Francis might score another time. You'll be down by 3 scores. I think the passing game might start to open up.
Dare I say it's the most effective the passing game's looked all year. Falk will air it out. Jet Harrison one-on-one ball. Great coverage by Henry as he breaks it up.
It looked like that might have even gotten Jet a little bit in the shoulder there, but once again, a great job there from Henry, and also not really getting his hands that much on Jet Harrison. He didn't turn around, so if, typically if the DB doesn't turn around, they might call a penalty, but a great job not really getting his hands on Jet Harrison, kind of just letting his body do the work there, and he's able to break that one up.
Now it'll be
second down.
Falk out here yet again. You see Colberdino and Novotny shuffling around. It's a Novotny, Frisbee, Harrison trips. Very threatening on that right side. It's Colberdino solo on the left. Billups as Frisbee goes in motion. Falk looking towards Frisbee outside. Frisbee breaks a man, miss. He goes out of bounds after a 15-yard little yak action.
That's a really great play call from Coach Sugden right there. Gets Alston Frisbee to go in motion, forcing St. Francis to change the way the personnel looks. And Charlie Falk, nice find with Alston Frisbee. The play really designed for him, and he gets that first down in the yards after the catch.
Absolutely have to agree right there. Frisbee making the use of his explosiveness. Falk now drops back to pass. Tries to look across the middle of the field. This time he'll take off and run. Nice slide for the 5-yard gain.
Yeah, it's solid there for Charlie Falk. I mean, he saw that Jet did not really get open there on the slant. The St. Francis, they had it covered beautifully. And then Charlie Falk, he knows the pressure was coming from his back, so he just tucks it. He knew the A-gap was going to be open. Great job by Jake Namum to open up, and he ran. And now another spread set from St. Joe's Prep. We typically see passes out of the spread set.
Yeah, absolutely, only 5 on the line. Billups in the backfield. Your usual 4 out to the left and right. Folks, look to his right is Jet Harrison on the sideline. It is too far behind him. Goes through the back shoulder ball. Intercepted by Raylan Henry.
Yeah.
Third of the game for Charlie Falk.
Yeah, a bit underthrown there for Charlie Falk. And if you're Jet Harrison, there's not much you can do. You ran your route. You run the go route, the fade. You're just trying to maybe get up and try and moss Henry there, but just a bit underthrown from Charlie Falk. Maybe, I don't know if it was miscommunication or Charlie just simply underthrew it, but that's kind of the breakdown of that there. And St. Francis now with a tremendous opportunity to really, really put this game on ice.
St. Francis starting to punish the Prep for their mistakes. Just a continual failure to take advantage of the opportunities granted. Throw is too far behind Harrison, and it completely stifles the momentum that the Hawks had. Now down 27-14. Panthers at their own 45. Hill fakes the handoff. He's scrambling out to the right. And he will toss it away, hit as he throws.
Yeah, and I think he was trying to go to Hall there again, but now this time when St. Francis went to the well, they got no water. Hill, it didn't have Hall open, and then there was guys on his back. Good job from him just to get it away.
Motion prior to the snap. Handoff. It's going to be Brooks knocked out of bounds by Samaj Hill.
So the good thing about this is that the ball was really more towards the left hash, so Brooks had really nowhere to go, and Samaj Hill did a great job closing off the sideline and making him go out of bounds.
Exactly. Samaj Hill manages to close up that space real quick, ensures he cannot get the edge. Only a 2-yard gain, as it will be a 3rd and 9 from the 45-yard line.
What down is it? Money down.
Absolutely. 3rd and 9 from the 46. Still Denari Hill trying to operate here. Nobody in the backfield with him. Designated rollout to the right. He hits Hall, and he is stick up real nice by the one and only Mason Talley.
Mason Talley, really nice open field hit. Another guy on St. Joe's Prep that is a really good tackler, and just a great job from Talley. You know, he found Hall really quickly after the throw and was just really able to make the open field tackle. I don't think Hall was really expecting Mason Talley on his back, but a really nice job to make that tackle and get the 4th down.
Big play, big stop by a squad I have loved to watch, as it was very close to being blocked.
Yeah, Samaj Hill, he just jumped a bit too early. If he would have just waited, that probably would have been a blocked punt. And, you know, we could have seen something close to what we saw against American Heritage with a touchdown, but unfortunately for him, not able to do that. But the Prep, they do get half decent field position on their own 36-yard line, sorry.
36-yard line. Hawks huddling up real quick, trying to continue to push through. The momentum is still there in a way. You see the defense continuing to make these impact plays and giving the offense continual chances to make the most of it. The passing offense has been very volatile, I think is the best word. Both touchdowns have come through it, but 3 turnovers have also come through it. You have to improve that risk-reward ratio.
Indeed, Dom.
Falk hands it up to Billups up the gut. He'll bounce off one hit, and it will be no gain.
I think more than ever now is the time where you really have to score. The clock is ticking. The defense just did their job. They got the stop that you needed with a lot of time left on the board, even in this 3rd quarter when it comes to, you know, some people might think 6 minutes and 17 seconds is not a lot of time, but it is definitely a lot of time in a football game, no matter what quarter you're in. So if you're St. Joe's Prep, you got a must score here is needed.
Trips on the left. It is Colbino Frisbee Harrison. Falk looking. He is speared through the middle. Very hard hit by the unblocked Uriah Miles, his 2nd boomstick of the game.
I think Charlie was looking for Alston Frisbee there on the wheel, and a great job from St. Francis. Easily had that covered, but in the process of that, Charlie Falk had that A-gap open wide, and he wasn't able to run through it this time. He got hit through it.
3rd and 16. Hawks on their own 30. Novotny, Harrison, Frisbee, Colberdino. Colberdino still on the right. Everyone else. Sorry, Colberdino still on the left. Everyone else on the right. Darisaw in the backfield. Going to be that power blocking pickup for Falk, possibly. Massive down here. Falk, he's going to step up in the pocket. He's going to scramble and be brought down quickly after just making it back only about 5 yards.
I mean, nowhere you can really go but forward if you're Charlie Falk. The pressure was mounting. Once again, that A-gap opened up. He had to take it because that play was taking a pretty long time to develop, and it had to. You had 3rd and around 18, so you had to, you know, call a play that had to develop quickly, or I'm sorry, long, but Charlie Falk just not much time there in the pocket.
But yeah, back out here to punt is Blake's shoulder. Let's hope he can get a clean one off. No more high snaps. Right in the numbers. And that is a strong boot as the returner backpedals to the 20. Hawks collapsing upon. But there is a clear gap up the middle for 21, Jesse Legree. He gets past shoulder, and he's going to walk untouched into the end zone as St. Francis extends the lead.
I don't know. That was something there, Dom. You know, the Gunners for St. Francis did a really great job blocking, and it looked like the prep. They thought that St. Francis were going to go right. They typically have on kick returns and punt returns, even, you know, throughout the season. But Legree, he saw an open midfield, and he took it, and he just took it right through for a touchdown.
Just not what you want to see. You saw that nobody really got to Legree on that initial level. He had time to build up and get into a full sprint before he even encountered any blockers. And it gave him the ability to just bob and weave his way through the entirety of that kickoff unit. St. Francis now up 33-14, and the extra point is good. It appears the Hawks are all out of special teams tricks. That includes blocks.
Yeah, I mean, what are you going to do there if you're St. Joe's Prep? You can't get a block every single time, but I think that if you're St. Francis, now you're up 3 scores. You don't get comfortable with that because obviously the prep can score at any given moment. But now is the time, when you are St. Joe's Prep, where you might have to hit the desperation button and start moving the football. Maybe start with some more deep plays. I mean, this is a time where you really have to score immediately if you are St. Joe's Prep.
I have to agree. This is do or die against such a talented squad in St. Francis. We are back on WSJP. It is Frisbee and Acree back to return. Frisbee will snag it on the goal line and touchback.
I guess the ball just went in the end zone.
I mean, it was slightly in the end zone, but normally they let that slide.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the referees, they have been a bit picky today, especially on holding calls and whatnot, and normally that's going on St. Francis, but you got to call it both ways.
I mean, of course, it has gone against St. Francis. However, that does not mean the prep has necessarily capitalized.
Nah, I mean, you're not wrong about that. You were not wrong about that at all, but now, once again, the pass game got to open up. You know, maybe we'll see some different receivers get involved here. You know, it is the typical receiving core, Frisbee, Novotny, and Jet. I think Jake Wilson going to be in the backfield for this one.
I mean, only down 20. This is still a very comebackable game.
No, I mean, no doubt about it. You get a score here. You get a quick stop. I mean, obviously easier said than done, but it can definitely happen.
Billups up the gut, swallowed. Gain of 1.
And I mean, just nothing really opened up there for the offensive line. Jake Namum really did his job at the other side of the line, just not really able to open up the gaps fast enough for Kion Billups. And give credit to St. Francis. I mean, they did a really good job rushing both the A and the B gap on the right side, and they were able to make the tackle pretty easily.
Absolutely. I mean, continually, these runs up the gut to Kion have been coming off as uninspired and just getting demolished by Zion Ely and that front 7 of St. Francis, really not creating any offense compared to what the air can offer. Jet Harrison open down the sideline. Hits him dead in the hands over the shoulder. Great ball from Falk. Dropped out of bounds.
Oh, the over-the-shoulder ball might have been a little too over the shoulder, if I'm being honest with you. I don't think Jet could have faded out any more, but a great outside release for Jet Harrison on the press coverage. So that was really good there. I expected that to go to Jet Harrison. I pointed it out before the play. But, you know, I think just but both players, were a bit off there on their targets.
I really would have liked to see Falk throw that further inside. Harrison had no one to catch him.
Right.
If he was able to just turn up field, and then even still he got it in the catch radius and it drops off the hands. Just not the best moment for either of the guys. They have to get better in sync.
And now Jet moving inside. We've seen him get the ball off this type of stuff.
Scored off that type of stuff. It's going to be an out route to Harrison. He will walk out of bounds for the first yard.
Yeah, every time Jet has gone from motion from the X into the slot, he's typically ran that drag or the out route. But he runs the out route there, and a great job from Jet Harrison. Great job out of his break. And I mean, everything is just so fundamentally great from Jet Harrison. We understand all that. And a really good ball there from Charlie Falk. It looks like they got that connection back, and they're on the same page.
I mean, Jet Harrison, obviously top 10 in his class nationally, 5-star, third wide receiver in the nation. It's just continually become almost the expectation for him to be great, and yet he still lives up to it.
Continue to watch Jet Harrison here. If Bing maybe lurks a little bit on the inside, you can see Jet get the ball again.
Falk looking across the middle. Now he's pressured. He will toss it incomplete.
Well, he looked at Jet Harrison, but I mean, he was double teamed on that one. If I don't blame St. Francis. He's gotten the ball on a couple occasions, really made him pay. So Charlie Falk really looked at Jet on that one and just had to get it away. And the pressure's coming really quickly, so Charlie really only has time for only one read before he's got to get it away.
Absolutely. And, Falk, it's out there with his usual personnel. Haven't seen much involvement from Colberdino and Novotny since the first quarter. It's mainly just been Harrison. Frisbee had a nice catch, but nothing too much outside of that.
Pressure going to be coming in here from St. Francis once again. Got to look at Jet Harrison.
He's 7 on the line.
Or Frizz.
Harrison gets it out to Novotny, who I just mentioned. He slips a tackle and then is hit hard. He will bring it forward for 5. 3rd and 5 here at the Hawks. At the Panthers.
No, the Hawks,
at the Hawks 35. Thank you.
Something I love a lot about Rob Novotny is that he's able to get yards after the catch. He only really got one there, but he was able to evade the first tackle, but then St. Francis was just ready, had 3 guys lurking on him, and they were able to make a really nice tackle. But Rob Novotny, somebody I really like over the middle to, maybe, get that curl route and take it for an extra couple of yards. He does that so well, and it's something that we're going to progressively see as the season continues.
Yeah. Committed the Fordham for a reason. You have to be a special player to carve out his role as a tight end. Motion from Colberdino. It's going to be a swing across the field. The Frisbee. He has all the open space in the world. One man to beat, and he hauls him down after a gain of 25-30. He is solidly into Panthers territory.
Simon Colberdino, really great block, and nobody's going to ever give him credit for that, but I'm going to be the one to do so. A really nice block on the outside there from Simon, allowing Frisbee to get on the inside. I also believe Caden Oler made a really nice block, just kind of picked off the whole defensive side for St. Francis, allowing Frisbee to get inside. But Wayne Henry, a really nice tackle, making up about 10 yards. Austin Frisbee looked to be gone, but then Wayne Henry just coming in from behind, a really nice open field tackle from him to prevent a touchdown.
Absolutely. Handoff up the gut, Kion Billups. He is stopped short. And it's going to be no gain. It just appears the beginning of just about every set of new downs. It starts with the same run up the gut to Kion, and it's really not working out for causing this offense to prosper.
Well, I think it's just a way to set the tone, Dom, is, you want to try and get a couple of yards to start the down or the first down. I don't really know what you would call it, but, I think it's just a way to set the tone if you're St. Joe's Prep. And, maybe not necessarily have gotten a couple yards off of it, but they have been able to get a couple first downs here.
Like the handoff to Williams. He's going to look deep for Frisbee, who's being held. No call.
I think the officials are going to deem that one uncatchable.
It was
Frisbee,
kind of uncatchable.
And Frisbee his momentum was not really going forward as well. So, a good no call, but now he's down here on the field.
Hopefully that's just a cramp. I mean, I'd make the argument more so that the holding came before the ball was uncatchable.
That is true. I mean, you can
But-
definitely make that argument. Once again, I think he might have felt something before the ball got off, which is why he stopped running.
Yeah.
But we hope he's okay.
You know, shout out to our guys on the field right now. John Claffey, Anthony Sorgi, Andrew Zimmerman, and Drew Dyke currently on the field.
Drew
taking
Brousseau, you
photos,
forgot about Drew Brousseau.
working social media. Where is Drew Brousseau? He came?
Yeah,
Oh,
he's here
there he
somewhere.
is. I see him.
He's there somewhere.
AP literature scholar alongside me.
Is this true?
Our producer, AJ Farrington, is currently pointing at himself. He's very egotistical. But we will give him a shout out as well. Did a great job on halftime and pregame.
Oh, yeah, really good job. All great job from the guys. Obviously, got the younger guys. Got our shadow for the day, Sam.
Sam's a great guy.
Actually got filmed both touchdowns for Jet Harrison. Put it on the social media. Did a really great job. And obviously, got the younger guys.
It's about the Clipsman, about that engagement.
Get the younger guys. Also got Mark James, who did a great job on halftime. Anthony Correa, who's a very great contributing member.
How could we forget Dom
on
Camp?
halftime. Dom Camp. I was just about to mention him as well. The guessing game on where he'll be going to college is a mystery.
Is he going to do like a commitment stream with hats?
You know what? I think I was actually something that we brought up. Maybe we should do all the seniors do the hats thing in the studio. AJ likes that. But also Frisbee getting up.
Walking off a bit slowly, but hopefully he will be fine for later in the game. We hope he's healthy. Also have to thank our moderators, Mr. Burns, Mr. Abington.
Oh, yeah, always get
Go
They got
Bonnies.
us here. They got us here today. Allowed us to do this broadcast. Shout out the athletic department as well.
Yeah.
Mr. Stins,
A lot
Mr.
of people
G.
to shout out.
I mean, yeah, we got everybody. Even we saw the prep legend, class of 71, Chris Tretta, come up and give us some kind words before the game.
Yeah, and you know, it's really about that prep community. That's what's going to kind of light a fire under this Hawks team. Hopefully can inspire them to make a comeback. I mean, they're knocking on the door right here. Only down 20. Hopefully it's more of a comebackable game if they can punch it in quickly here. But it's going to be a 3rd and long, 39 on the Panthers' 32. In field goal range, but a farther one.
I'm very interested to see if Jair Edwards is going to blitz here or if he's going to drop onto Jet Harrison.
Interesting formation. Falk alone in the backfield. He will air it out. Jet Harrison too far ahead.
Yeah, and I mean, great job there from Henry. He was very aggressive on the coverage, and it's just a simple go route for Jet Harrison. And, you know, you're just hoping that he gets there in time. But once again, you got to give credit where credit is due to Henry. Did a really nice job getting some contact off the line and was able to make the play and force a stop. But now the prep going to go for it here on 4th and 9.
I mean, we'll see the Hawks stay out. They will. You love to see it. As you have.
Yeah, you got to go for it.
I agree. Out on the right, you see Jake Wilson ready to pass catch. Not what you normally see. Novotny, Colberdino, Harrison on the left. Monmouth man in the backfield. Falk looks out wide. Novotny, but there's going to be a flag thrown.
This is holding. This is
Between Jake Wilson.
I assume this is going to be holding on St. Francis, but let's see.
Yeah, I think there may have been some defensive holding on Jake Wilson. That's what our producer, AJ Farrington's indicating.
Very aggressively indicating. I
By number 10, Jayon Williams.
Let's
Listed
see
as a quarterback for some reason, but
Oh, I don't know. Max Preps, not always.
Max Rep lies to us sometimes. Certainly we're not lying, though, about St. Francis being the number 4 team in the country. Exceedingly talented squad we've seen today.
We were also not lying on that holding call. They definitely called it there. And the prep going to get another opportunity.
Love to see the generosity of the Zebras at times as they will move that ball forward. Will that be an automatic first down?
It differs sometimes, but yeah.
The ball was past the chains, so.
Yeah, will be first down. It differs. I don't know. I think it depends on the spot of the foul, or I think they might have to timeout St. Francis. Sorry.
Timeout for the Panthers. 21 seconds here left in the 3rd, and you wonder, you know, a score and a quick stop. A lot easier said than done, but there's a world where the Hawks are getting the ball back, down only 13, 34-21, with still double-digit minutes left to go in the 4th.
Yeah.
And 3 timeouts, Chet Harrison, and a very talented offense. There's a flag possibly on a St. Francis coach. We saw one picked up earlier.
Yeah, they picked it up, and I would assume this time they're going to call
And
it.
I think the referees are going to have a word.
Yeah, I mean, this is the second time that they've had an incident with the St. Francis coaching staff, and I assume that they are actually probably going to enforce this one.
I would love to see it enforced, personally.
Well, I mean, yeah, obviously, we're not, we're for St. Joe's Prep around here, but, we always try to call it.
WSJP for a reason.
Yeah, we always try to call it down the middle, but I think that this is the second time it's happened, and, you got one chance, the penalty wasn't called, you probably have to enforce it this time. But I don't know, the chains haven't moved just yet. I don't think they've made an official call. They're still, debating on maybe whatever I guess it was on the last penalty, because the argument you could make is that Jake Wilson wasn't involved in the play.
Yeah. Also, forgot to mention, Andrew Yeager also on the field.
Do we have all the Drews? I think we have all the Drews.
Yes, we have.
I mentioned this yesterday
all
at soccer.
All 4 of our Drews.
I mentioned this yesterday
Andrew
at
John
soccer.
Farrington, AJ.
Oh, AJ. So
he's fine. I mean, he's okay.
So do we consider him as an Andrew though? We have all 5 Andrews.
We have far too many.
We have
he's
a lot
just
of
an AJ.
Andrews. We have a lot of Andrews. We talked about this on the soccer broadcast yesterday, and very great to see all the Andrews here. And we had them for, well, technically 3 more years, but it's their sophomore year now, so we'll just say 3.
Yeah. You have 3 more years for them? I'm so glad I'm graduating.
Wow. I hope they listen back to this. Okay, so they do enforce the penalty this time.
Absolutely beautiful. Hawks on the 11, 1st and 10. Wilson still out wide. He's got Harrison behind him. Colberdino and Novotny out wide to the left. Harrison, slight motion. Falk targets him. Back corner, Jet Harrison for the 3rd time today.
Oh my, what a catch from Jet. I mean, the fact that he got the ball into his hands and was able to get the feet down. He wasn't even looking, but a great corner route. And I think if you were St. Francis and Wayne Henry, you didn't need to get your head around, because then Jet Harrison was going to make a play there. But if you just try to use your body to force an incompletion, normally that works. It doesn't really work with Jet Harrison the majority of the time. We saw it happen once. We knew it wasn't going to happen again. Every time it seems like Jet Harrison goes in motion, he seems to get the football. But St. Francis couldn't do anything to stop it. Jet Harrison is showing out today.
And the question to ask is, who else?
Yeah, honestly.
Who else will that ball go to? And the extra point is no good. Wide left by Luke Cochran.
It was a bit of a high snap, and there was a lot of stuff going on there, and can't necessarily blame Cochran for that one.
So the Hawks managed to get a score, just what I was talking about. Still time left in the 3rd. You would really like to see some form of a 3-and-out, maybe a turnover. Hawks have been losing the turnover battle, and it hasn't been a particularly close one.
Yeah, I would say that even with the missed PAT, it still is a 14-point game. So it's not like you're going to need an extra 2-point conversion saying you get 2 touchdowns if you're St. Joseph's Prep. So obviously, you wanted to get the PAT. It's something that you should always make, but it's nothing that you really have to get yourself all down over. But now St. Joe's Prep, I mean, as you mentioned, Dom, a 3-and-out would just be really great for them. I mean, you want to try and get the ball back, want to keep riding this momentum. I'm sure the offense has got the adrenaline running through their veins right now. And the defense, they've been off the field for a bit. They've gotten a break. They've been off the field for around 6 minutes. Obviously, with the timeouts and all that, it's definitely been a bit longer. So if you are St. Joe's Prep, this defense has been off the field for a little bit. You want to try and get a 3-and-out. You've got some rest.
Exactly, and you saw an issue in both the Heritage and the Matha games where the offense was getting off the field so quickly. The defense, who had been strong, started to break rather than bend because they were so fatigued. We are not going to see that happen here at Franklin Field. This defense is coming out well-rested. It's coming out with momentum on its side, and it is coming out ready to stop Denari Hill and the rest of this offense. Burke, Hall, Edwards, Legree. I mean, everyone, Brooks too. Really just a team effort from the Panthers. But at the end of the day, I feel like this battle is always going to be what offense can hold up better against such a strong defense. So far, it's been the Panthers, but we're looking for that to change. Motion prior to the snap. Handoff to Brooks up the gut. He gets to the second level before it is sticked back. Gain of 2.
That is the third quarter.
And it is the end of the third quarter. 34 to 20 in favor of the St. Francis Panthers. Hawks making this game competitive, have the momentum, ready to bring themselves back into the win column. As we will be right back. And we are back on WSJP. Quick throw to the outside makes it 3rd and 4 at the 26-yard line for the Panthers. Appears we have a quarterback change here. We no longer see Denari Hill in the game. It is now Carter Daly. Not quite sure as to what prompted that change, but we'll see 2 to his left. An extra blocker in the backfield. And I believe that is Burke alongside him. And then one-on-one on the right, you have a man. It is Samir Edwards. A lot of pre-snap adjustments.
Money down.
Clock ticking away. And there is a timeout called.
Yeah, I mean, it's money down. You don't want to turn the ball over or punt the ball away, that being to St. Joe's Prep if you are St. Francis. So, you know, a timeout would probably help you out. And just get right here before the money down.
Exactly. I have to agree with you. Just kind of nice to force St. Francis to burn one of their timeouts in this clock management situation. What? We are back. I believe that's actually Jayon Williams under center as we see motion from Antonio Smith. And it will be a handoff to Brooks. Does not get that first down.
Right, and now, 4th down, St. Joe's Prep. Very key to score here. You got 10:50 and counting. You got to score if you're St. Joe's Prep, and a good return from Kyle Almond would be a great way to start that.
This is exactly what I laid out previously. Prep scores quick. They get the ball back. Double digits still on the clock. This is the optimal comeback scenario right now. Bar, you know, like a pick 6, but still.
Yeah. But yeah, now if you're Kyle Almond, you definitely need a good return, get things started.
Almond between the 40 and the 45. Ball, I believe, might have been slightly tipped, but Almond will field it at the midfield logo. 10:20 left on the clock.
So still lots of time if you're St. Joe's Prep. A touchdown is needed. Obviously, anything less is not going to, you know, work at all. You definitely need 2 touchdowns if you're St. Joe's Prep, but lots of time still left. You get the 3 and out. Defense is obviously going to have to be prepared. but they've gotten rest. The offense has given them time, but if the offense can give them even more time on this drive, a quick touchdown, maybe leaving 7 minutes left would probably be ideal if I'm being 100% realistic. And then the defense has got to get on and get another stop. So everything has to go right if St. Joe's Prep want to tie this game up.
Everything has been going right recently, though. See Wilson, extra blocker, attached to the line. Billups, Colberdino to the right. It'll be a handoff to Billups up the gut. And he is wrapped up yet again for no gain. And, you know, you mentioned establishing the tone. However, I don't feel that zero yardage gains are exactly the tone you want to establish when the passing game has been so effective recently.
No, I mean, you're definitely right, Dom. I mean, it was definitely something that I understood, but now it doesn't really. It seems like St. Francis knows that it is coming, so maybe it is that time to turn the page on that type of stuff.
I mean, I say started off with a play-action bomb at some point if they're expecting that run up the gut so often.
Maybe.
Falk pressured, gets it out near Colberdino, but it is now quickly a 3rd and long after an ineffectual handoff and a blown-up pass.
Yeah, Zion Ely, and that's one of the few times we've mentioned him today.
Beginning to think he's pretty good.
No announcers jinx, but I mean, he has. We haven't really said his name much today, but the Prep have paid so much attention to him. They've put some double teams on him. They've gotten guys on blitz pickup to, get rid of him. The H-backs as well, but a great pressure from him.
I feel like this has been a great game from Sean Molly.
Yeah.
Screen to Billups. He will get caught hard around the shins as Hakeem Satterwhite gets around his blocker and manages to wrap him up. It is very quickly a 4th and 8 here.
I don't think Steve Landers was expecting Satterwhite to come so quick. I think he was expecting him to break down and maybe Landers could get there and maybe deliver a block on the outside for Kion, but Satterwhite just gave absolutely no regard for what Steve Landers was thinking and just drove right through Kion Billups. So you got to give credit where credit is due. Just no thinking football for Satterwhite.
Harrison, Novotny, Wilson on the left, Colberdino on the right. Billups in the backfield. Falk looks back at the sideline. Massive play right here, one of the biggest of the game.
Yeah,
4th and 8,
down.
Panthers 48. Falk, ready, looking to his left. He uncorks, looking for Harrison. Double coverage, pulls it down. 4th touchdown of the game. Who else? 26-34 here at Franklin Field.
He's the best player.
2 men. Doesn't matter. Put another out there.
He's the best wide receiver in his class.
He's the best wide receiver in the country.
He's the best wide receiver in the class. Oh my goodness. That was absolutely incredible. You can't teach that. You cannot teach what Jet Harrison just did. Patient. I thought that the safety was coming in, was going to jump that.
Since the womb.
And Jet Harrison just simply hopped up, took it, and got both of them to run into each other, and he had green grass in front of him. Oh, boy.
Oh, extra point block.
That looked like it was offsides, though.
Oh, come on, Zebras. You got to spot that one. I saw it from a mile away.
I can't believe what Jet Harrison just did. 4 touchdowns. He's the best wide receiver in his class. I don't think anybody can deny that now. There are guys who are apparently ranked above him. I don't think that those guys are doing what Jet Harrison just did. Unbelievable. But obviously now that extra point I mentioned earlier, that extra point may be something that you cannot really get all upset over. Maybe it was, because now this other extra point just got blocked. And now if you get another touchdown, you got to get a 2-point conversion. And once again, I've said it before earlier in the broadcast, when you get on the goal line, it gets really tough sometimes.
Hawks solidly back in this game.
I still can't believe what just happened.
I can.
I saw the safety come in, and I was like, oh, I don't know. And then
I thought that was going to be
brings
Novotny
it
over the
down.
middle.
Oh,
Novotny
man.
had the seam wide. It just didn't matter.
Well, Charlie read Jet the entire play, which is, I knew he was going to go to him, but I saw the safety. I think it was Bing, maybe. I couldn't really get a look at the number. I just saw Jet Harrison get into the end zone. That's all I saw. Man.
Cochran's kickoff fielded directly on the goal line, brought down at the 25.
And now, more than ever, you need a stop if you're St. Joe's Prep, and you got to get it quickly. Another 3 and out would be incredible, but you give up even a field goal or even time would be just terrible. A 3 and out, and once again, I said it before and I'll say it again, to come back, you have to be perfect if you're St. Joe's Prep, and now is the time where you really got to be perfect. Wow. What a...
The standard
I still
is the
can't get
standard.
over this. Like, I can't get over this touchdown.
Get over it.
Man.
There's more coming.
Let's hope so. Let's hope so indeed if you are the Hawks. A stop is needed.
Hand off to Burke. He fumbles it. Is it recovered by the Hawks? They're fighting for it. I think Burke fell on it, but everyone's pointing in favor of the Hawks.
Oh, no, he didn't.
Almost had me there. Almost jumped out of the elevated press box.
And you hear the boos. Man, I think St. Francis is... They might be... They could possibly be feeling it.
And it looks... And this student section sounds twice as big as it really is. Hill now back in.
Remember the time.
Hill fakes the handoff to Burke. He's going to roll out. Anthony Shuley. That's intentional,
grounding. Yep.
That is intentional grounding. Oh, he was down.
Oh, no, he was down. So it's a sack.
I will take that.
That's a sack. I thought it was intentional grounding.
The president.
Wow. Wow, Anthony Shuley, the Prep sending everything
That's
through the middle.
Forward with others.
Yep. Forward with others indeed. If you're Anthony Shuley, great job just getting through the line. I think he might have ripped through inside and easily getting inside, taking down Denari Hill. What a play from Anthony Shuley. But now if you're the Prep, you can't. You got to get the stop. It's money down. It's a big third down. But St. Francis, this is the number 4 team in the country for a reason, folks. You got to get the stop right now. You can't get too excited.
3rd and 27. Franklin Field is shaking.
Man, you can hear it.
Not hearing a peep from the St. Francis side. Hill takes it. He's looking to his left. He's going to air it out towards Acree. Flag thrown. Oh, pick that up.
Oh, I don't know about that one. They looked like there was marginal contact from both guys.
That was soft.
That was an interesting call. I think that was marginal contact.
The Joe Flacco special. Underthrow the deep ball. Got the PI.
Yeah, that was. I'm not sure about that one. And they're moving back a little bit, so maybe they're thinking of picking this one up. Or did they call it? Yeah, they did. Never mind.
Not automatic first, though, right?
No, but it is still going to be third down. It's not. It's
still
not
third and long.
It's not
Still
an
third and
automatic.
long.
It's not an automatic first down. That is a common misconception in high school football. It's not an automatic first down. So the Prep do get another opportunity, but I don't know. That call definitely seemed like there was marginal contact, and it was. It
hurts
was
the
inside.
momentum, but you still have to focus on this situation. 3rd and 12. Panthers on their own 23. They are pushed back. They are in a corner. The Hawks need to pin them.
Very interesting here. The Hawks decide to no-go single high safety.
Motion before the snap. It's Legree. He's made a great impact so far. Hill, he's going to take it right up the gut. Plunges. Jaquez ties him up.
Good
no first.
Good tackle. Or no, they got it.
Oh.
He got it.
Barely plunges forward. Great open field tackle by Jaquez.
That was, wow, that was something. Once again, I agree with you, Dom. I don't agree with that penalty call whatsoever. And Denari Hill, I was very interested. That was interesting. I was like, I don't know about that quarterback draw, but they got it. And that's a killer for St. Joe's Prep. That hurts the momentum a lot. And more importantly, that hurts the clock because St. Francis can definitely take another round 2 minutes down.
You know, Hawks still have their timeouts, but we just dipped below 6 minutes. Hawks are still down 8. Another design quarterback run for Hill. He gets split high and low, 5 yards.
He's just going to keep doing that. I mean, if you're St. Joe's Prep, you gotta get your linebackers there on the outside. Yeah, I think the Prep are going to start using these timeouts now. Oh no, penalty.
Penalty.
All right, so you get the 1st and long now. This is a very long take back. Oh, no, it's still 10 yards. I thought they were moving back like 20. They're moving back a lot. And now another first down for St. Francis, but getting the ball back would have just been so crucial on that 3rd and 27 if you're St. Joe's Prep.
5:45 here on
And
the 26.
I think there was a
Bit of referee communication.
I don't know. They're looking behind. I don't know what they were
Maybe
looking
looking
at.
at the scoreboard?
I guess.
Oh,
yeah.
telling the clock to run.
Oh,
The clock
okay.
wasn't running.
Oh, okay.
I would have loved
Got
if it didn't run.
Yeah, I mean, if you're the
But-
Prep, you can't. You want to stop that clock as much as
Trips
possible.
to the right, Solo to the left. Hill's going to take it himself yet again. This time will get swallowed up, Brandon Lockley.
Yeah, good play there by Lockley. It looked like he was also trying to go for the ball, but give Denari Hill credit. He just kept that ball, tucked in, and that's what you got to do for St. Francis. No turnovers here at all, because you want to keep this clock moving and you want to pin the Prep back at least on their 30-yard line.
2nd and 18 here. And, the Hawks were so close to continuing that momentum, getting the ball back with 6 minutes left, either on that 3rd and long or the fumble that was recovered by Burke. But the Hawks, they can't dwell on the past. They have to play in the present.
The clock is your enemy if you're St. Joe's Prep. St. Francis, they're very, very slow to the line. They want to keep this one moving. So if you're the Prep, making sure there is no first down is crucial right now.
2nd and 18. Hill looks out to the left. The ball's popped up. Not intercepted. Burke is recovering it as if it
That's
wasn't a very
incomplete.
forward pass.
That was very incomplete. So what's crucial now is the clock stop. Obviously, the ball went up. You hold your breath hoping somebody will come down with an interception, but the clock
and that was
stopping,
a real can of corn,
right.
too.
But the clock stopping, very crucial for St. Joe's Prep, and this is a must stop. And I think the officials this go around, I don't know if you're St. Francis, if you can really go for that deep ball once again. I don't think the officials are going to throw it this time.
I highly doubt they give that call again.
Right.
And I highly doubt the Hawks surrender
But it's
it
the
here.
same formation here, Dom. Look at this. They got the 2 receivers there on the right. They might just try this again here. If I'm the Prep, you might have to go with 2 high safeties right now. Or St. Francis, they could just run it and force the clock to keep moving and hope that your defense, which I believe is #1 in the country, to try and get a stop.
3rd and 18 motion prior to the snap. Fake the handoff. Hill looking deep downfield. Acree over his head. Incomplete. No flag. 4 minutes, 34 seconds. Sure, St. Joe's Prep's Hawks will be receiving a punt.
Yeah, the clock stopping was crucial, and they tried to do it again, but this time the ball was a bit overthrown. Great job from Messiah Acree, and it looked like Jermaine Smith was trying to get Messiah Acree to create contact, which is something he did not do. He learned from his mistakes from the last go-around. Really nice play from Messiah Acree, forcing the overthrow, not forcing any contact for the pass interference, and now the Prep going to get the ball back. A good punt return would be a great start to get yourself in good field position, because, once again, the time is your enemy if you're the Hawks, and you also need that 2-point conversion so you can get a touchdown.
Allman, back to return. Punt is nearly blocked. It will be a fortunate bounce and dip out of bounds on the Hawks 32.5.
So now if you're St. Joe's Prep, it's go time. This is what everybody's been waiting for, the offense to get back on the field. You were hoping the defense was going to get a stop, and they did their job. So now the offense, some highs and some lows. Obviously, the last drive was a very big high, but it did come on 4th down. So if you're the Prep, you want to get it moving, and you want to get it moving quickly. If you're St. Francis, I doubt they're going to be rushing much. I would say you just rushed 4, but honestly, that's like rushing 6 with Zion Ely back there. And Frisbee actually not going to go in. So that is going to be a tough loss for St. Joe's Prep. I think he's upset, but
That's why you've been seeing so much more Jake Wilson.
Right.
You notice that Wilson's been in instead of Tootle, who was traditionally that guy swapping back and forth once you left the traditional 4 receivers, tight ends.
Yeah, I mean, I think Jet's going to continue to get the ball here.
Novotny and Jet. Jet goes in motion.
Goes in motion, and every time he gets the ball.
It's been a great sign for the Hawks offense so far. Falk, low-key intentional grounding. They're trying to act like it was a fumble. It wasn't.
Yeah, I was kind of focusing more on Jet there because that was definitely going to be Charlie Falk's read, but a great pass rush there from St. Francis to force an incompletion. And if you're the Prep, the good thing, the clock stops. Bad thing, it's 2nd down.
Exactly. Just want to keep that. The clock is the goal here.
Yeah, you got to maintain the clock here for the Prep. You don't want to give, I mean, honestly, with 4 minutes and 16 seconds on your own 33-yard line, you probably would want to just give St. Francis no time left. But once again, you still need a 2-point conversion.
Falk Harrison, Novotny, Wilson to the left. Colberdino to the right. Billups in the backfield. Full card count, looks back. That coordinator Sugden. Trying to will this offense back to a tie game. Folk looking to his left. Clean pocket, he's going to start rolling out now. He'll dump it off to Colberdino, who's hit before the ball gets to him, but there is no flag thrown.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's going to be a flag thrown down. There's 4 minutes left in a very close game. They're going to try and let the guys play for the most part. And, you know, Charlie Folk really didn't find any of his first reads open. And when he typically doesn't, he kind of just throws it away or tucks it and runs, and that's what he had to do there.
I agree. Pressure brought. 3rd and 10 here now on the Hawks 33. We're at 4 minutes, 10 seconds. Zone 6, football classic going up against, in consensus, top 5, top 10 team in the country. Be a massive win for the program on the national stage if the Hawks can pull this through. But first, they need to convert and move these chains.
I think Jet's that go-to guy right now. I mean, the Prep might be trying to set up for 4th down, but you might just have to throw it up to Jet again and see what happens. And
Jet goes into motion.
Yep, he gets the ball when he's in motion.
Falk looks to Harrison, yet again, back shoulder, one hand grab! And helmet to helmet, it doesn't matter!
Oh my,
it doesn't matter!
You know what, forget wide receiver, he's the best player in his class. That might be one of the greatest catches I've ever seen from a high school football player.
He put the team on his back!
That would have been one of the greatest catches I've ever seen from a high school football player. That was the most unbelievable
Please
thing
tell me, Sorge, you clipped that
I've
on the
ever
sideline.
seen. Oh my goodness gracious. I knew, now listen, you knew it was going to him, Dom. I just told you. He went in motion. Whenever he goes in motion, he gets the football. You knew it was coming. I knew it was coming. Everybody next to us knew it was coming. If St. Francis knew it was coming, they still couldn't stop it.
Novotny and Wilson strong, and another run up for Kion that gets absolutely nothing.
Yeah, I mean, you got the clock. I mean, I guess the Prep are trying to maintain the clock here with 4 minutes remaining, but, you know, you want to try and set up St. Francis with no time. So now we're getting from our official stat guys here at WSJP. Jet Harrison with 6 catches, 202 yards, and 3 touchdowns. That's offsides. Or 4 touchdowns, actually. I apologize for that.
Offside, stop the clock, moves the chains. We're under 3 minutes 30, though. That run burns a lot. That run had no gain, burned a lot of unnecessary clock. Wilson will come off. Who's coming on? It's Tootle. Finally, he makes an appearance. Highly touted from the classman. Falk looking to the right. He's going to step up in the pocket, tosses it to Billups in the flat. He slips.
Dropped it. I think it's incomplete.
And there's a hit after the play that isn't called.
Or did he catch it? Or I guess he did catch it. He just went down.
Well, then I don't get why he wasn't hit when he was down.
Well, then, yeah, I mean, I guess the knee was down and then they delivered the hit. I don't know if the whistle didn't blow. I heard the whistle blow, but they let it go.
Billups sending off Darrisol, Williams, who just came onto the field. Hawks not showing a lot of urgency when getting to the line. The clock is running.
The thing is, Dom, you have 3 timeouts. You're on the St. Francis side of the field. You go slow here. You want to try and set them up with no time left, but this is the time where St. Francis will use a timeout, actually. Their final of the game.
St. Francis is confident they can stop the Hawks here. And with their defense, who wouldn't be? I mean, their defense obviously incredible. Riddle Henry, top 30 in the nation. I mean, Zion Ely, 3rd in the nation. Jura Edwards, 26 in the nation. These guys are national. These guys are absolute beasts, and they are ready to take it to the Hawks every single play. The thing is, the Hawks this time, this isn't like Heritage. This isn't like DeMatha. They've been responding. They've played well into the second half, deep into the trenches of this game. They are ready to take their moment on the national stage. They are ready to take the win here at Franklin Field.
Yeah, it's not just competing with St. Francis at this point. Obviously, when we look back at the game, whether the Hawks win or lose, we're going to say they put up an incredible fight against the number 4 team in the country. But as of now, with 2:49 remaining at 9:40 p.m. Eastern Time, It is about trying to tie this football game up with St. Francis. And now the chance from the student section. They have really come alive here.
3rd and 4 now. Novotny, Doodle, Colberdino to the right. Billups to the right, Fulton in the backfield. Harrison, solo on the left. A lot of motion pre-snap. Billups, great pickup. Folk, heavy pressure in the pocket. He's dancing. What do you got? Tosses it down. Late hit.
Intentional
late
grounding.
Hit, flag throw.
Not intentional grounding. Sorry, that's going to be no. It's going to be a late hit because they threw it after he hit him.
Yeah.
He threw it after he hit him. That should be a first down for St. Joe's Prep.
I was about to say that was a late hit on Folk.
Simon Colberdino's. I think this is going to be. They're pointing it towards on the Prep.
I mean, Folk got hit heavy and then.
Well, let's see the call first.
Yeah.
Dom.
Less speculation, more observation.
It looks like the Prep are moving back, so I think this might be intentional grounding. Yep, it's actually going to be holding on the Prep.
Holding on a pass play.
Interesting. 4th down. 3rd, actually. St. Francis accepted it. That's also an interesting call.
No, that actually is pretty interesting.
So it is going to be around 3rd and... Oh, wow. It's going to be longer than I thought. 3rd and around 13. Or
Hawks
14,
can manage.
maybe. I mean, listen, you might have to try and set up 4th down here because you know Jet is probably going to get a look, but he is going to be doubled. Obviously, that hasn't mattered, but they're going to throw everything they have at him.
Yeah. 3rd and 14. Hawks on their own 46. Falk looks back to the sideline.
And yeah, I mean, Jet Harrison one-on-one, but you know that the single high safety right here. Actually, this is cover 2, so you know that the one safety is going to look at him.
Falk pressured, steps up, looking for a throw. He gets sacked. Actually gets a yard or two, but still can't seem to find anything on the improvisation in the pocket.
Had green grass in front of him, but Zion Ely was behind him, and we know how quick Zion Ely is, and he took him down.
Beginning to think the Zion Ely guy is pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I said we haven't brought him up that much. Well, we had to bring him up there. I mean, Charlie Folk had green grass in front of him, but he did have to get his footing down, and he wasn't able to before Zion Ely wrapped him up.
4th and 14.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a hard one for St. Joe's Prep. I mean, listen, St. Francis is going to be throwing everything at Jet Harrison. And then they have it there. This is a cover 2.
To the left.
This is a cover 2 with about 3 linebackers. You got to call timeout.
Toodle, Novotny. Timeout here.
You need a timeout. You need to
Subbed in and broken. Need to cook up something major here, something gourmet.
I mean, you just got to find a way to get the ball to Jet. I mean, if you can get one of these.
Or you take advantage of Jet.
Well, yeah, you could take advantage of that, but I think right now you got to get the ball to your best player. It's 4th and 13. You got to find a way to get the ball to your best player. If you can try and clear out this wall that St. Francis has created with maybe like a pick or something from, say, a Toodle or an Alston Frisbee, run those slants and then try and set a pick and get the ball maybe to Jet on a wheel or an out route or something around there to stop the clock while getting him the football. If that is something that's probably going to work, saying that they stay within the trip set, I think they will. I don't think they're going to necessarily change, but we'll see here. Frisbee and Toodle, if they are going to get the ball to Jet, I assume they're just going to be using decoy pieces to clear out everybody to get Jet a one-on-one play. We'll see if it happens, though.
I mean, just massive for the game. This is the game right here. 4th and 14. Under 2 minutes now. I mean, Hawks, 2 timeouts. If they turn it over here, maybe they could get it back with like 30 seconds and no timeouts.
So they don't stick with the trips. That's interesting to me. I wonder if they'll move Jet. They will, yeah.
Jet in motion. Toodle Colberdino to the right. Novotny solo on the left, and then you see Billups, as usual, in the backfield. They bring pressure. Folk gonna step up. Look, Harrison. He's.
Oh, I don't know. They let it go. I mean, that kind of does it.
Now they let it go.
Pretty much over. Yeah, I mean, that's tough. The referees are gonna let them play with with 4th down and a 8-point game. Not much you can do about that one. Jair Edwards, really good coverage, and he splits the hands of Jet Harrison. It's just good coverage. Not much you can do. But if you're the defense, I mean. The Prep have pretty much burned a timeout, which is very crucial. So if a stop would be nice. It would be very hard to score saying that, saying you get the ball back. But if you're the defense, you got to try and go for the football.
Yeah, minute 44 here. See what type of conservative Ideas that Panthers try to utilize. Going to be a run out to the right. He is knocked out of bounds.
He went
which
out
is
of
nice.
bounds. That was interesting. I'm surprised he didn't just slide there.
Personally, would have
So-
just fallen flat on my rear, but
Yeah, slide or just fall down. That was an interesting play there, but
only 5 seconds burnt off the clock.
I mean,
the Hawks force a 3 and out here. They could call 2 timeouts. I mean, geez.
there's no now. I mean, Denard Hill just really gave the Prep a big opportunity.
Yeah, I'm certainly appreciative.
Yeah, I mean, if you're the Prep fan, you definitely will be appreciative of that. Now they just gave him a really big opportunity. We'll see if he's able to. Now the defense, I mean, you gave him an opportunity, but the defense has got to finish with it.
Exactly. I mean, the defense either can force the 4 and out. I mean, maybe they punch the ball out, make some sort of an impact play. Haven't forced a turnover yet. And an absolutely incredible run by Burke.
Oh, they're getting him a good spot, aren't they? Yeah,
Give
first
it-
down.
no,
Now they'll.
generous spot.
Now they give him the first. Yeah, that.
They dispute the chains, then they move the chains.
That will. I don't want to say.
I mean,
I
Burke
don't wanna
breaks
say
like
that.
5 tackles right there. Great play by him to make up for the low IQ play from Hill. That wasn't the best.
I don't want to say that'll do it, but it is
Ah,
going
might
to be.
do it.
It's going to be very tough. 1 timeout and 1:29 remaining. They just got a fresh set of downs. So once again, it's either you just go for the football, or nothing. You just got to go for the football. Value and effort, though, from St. Joe's Prep. I mean, listen, I'm not trying to say it's over, but I mean, I think they proved a lot of people wrong, taking the number 4 team in the country to the limit. People say, oh, you know, they don't deserve to be the number 1 team in Pennsylvania. Yeah, they do. I think this is the number 1 team in Pennsylvania as we speak. They put on such a great performance here,
Game's
especially
not
in the
over
second.
yet, man.
No, I mean, I'm not trying to
Punch
say
that ball out.
but even still.
Going for the strip, can't seem to get it. Timeout called. Minute 24, 2nd and 10. No timeouts left.
And then once again, you just got to go for the football. I mean, there's no other way to put it. You got to go for the football if you're St. Joe's Prep and try and force a turnover here. Obviously, no timeouts. That's rough, but you got to try it here. The running backs, though, Brooks and amongst others, have done a really great job of securing the football. I don't think they've had a fumble yet this season, and I don't think they plan on having one now.
Well, nobody plans on having one.
Well,
but
I
I
mean-
do agree.
Okay, well, you get my point.
Hawks obviously, I mean, showed so much improvement, especially
No,
compared
yeah.
to the Matha game,
Oh, yeah.
where
really
they
did.
fell apart at the seams.
That bye week, I think, really helped the Hawks.
I agree, but I don't think it'll be enough to propel them to a win.
But, I mean, if they continue to play this way next week and going forward, they play pretty much how they did today. Obviously, a few mistakes, the interceptions and all that, and, you know, a couple of missed tackles. If they smooth that out, then they will go undefeated the rest of the way.
Absolutely, as they usually do in the Pennsylvania schedule.
Yeah, now.
Going to come out in the victory formation.
Yeah, so they probably can. They would.
I believe they can just run the clock out.
I mean,
now.
what is it, a 40-second? So, I mean, yeah, I mean, they would really only realistically give the Prep
Like 10
about,
seconds.
yeah, one, not even.
Actually, not even, yeah.
And even then, I'm sure St. Francis would just run in the backfield and air it out on that 4th down.
It's not unreasonable to say.
Exactly. Or they
Yeah,
could
Music
just
City
run.
Miracle, lateral it up. Why not?
Yeah, why not? I mean, see what happens. 50 seconds. St. Francis just going to let this clock run out. And I said earlier, the clock is your enemy if you were St. Joe's Prep, and that obviously was the thing. The clock definitely was not a helping factor in this game for them. And that will do it.
It will be a knee here from from Franklin Field as your St. Joe's Prep Hawks fall to the St. Francis Panthers 34-26. A barn burner here back in Philadelphia. Hawks gave it their all, came out really strong off the bye week, finally managed to have a consistent second half. But against the best team they've played so far this year, it wasn't enough. I mean, this team would have beat Heritage or DeMatha, but at the end of the day, they didn't, and now they start this season 0-3. Now, coming up against Good Counsel soon, yet again against these Maryland teams. Good Counsel, however, believed to be the weakest of the three. Hawks will be back soon next week, but really an unfortunate loss here at Franklin Field in the blackout. Have to highlight the absolutely awakening, true setting game from Jet Harrison. Sullivan, do we have a final stat tally? I believe it was 6-202 and 4.
Correct. That was great from Jet Harrison. And, I mean, you hit it right on the nose there, Dom. A great second half from the Hawks. They were able to put a good second half together. Obviously, there's no fun way to lose, but if there was to put a positive outlook on it, that this was the best that the Prep have played throughout a complete game. And if they can play this way against teams that are probably, I would say, lesser competition than St. Francis, they will cruise their way through an undefeated record throughout the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I mean, not to think I'm Nostradamus or someone making prediction of the future, but I think I see it pretty clearly for the Prep, where they run the slate in PA, beat LaSalle as usual, and claim yet another state championship. Yeah. But it's really unfortunate to not come away with that national stage win against such a talented squad and a beautiful defense in St. Francis.
Yeah, and I think it all starts next week against Good Counsel, where Dom Campanero and I will have the call. And I think the Prep next week, I'm definitely going to predict a win here, and I don't think that'll change throughout the week. The Prep looked really good today, and they put up a valiant effort against a really, really great team, a team that I think has the potential to be the #1 team in the country when it's all said and done. And, yeah, they look great here today, and we'll see if that can continue throughout the course of the season. But now it's time for the fifth quarter.
Exactly. We will welcome you to the Hawks' fifth quarter post-game breakdown in just a bit. I have been Dominic Schalk, your play-by-play commentator for tonight. He has been Ryan Sullivan, your color analyst, and we implore you to stick around for just a bit as we thank you for watching and ask you to get ready for post-game.
Go Prep.
Go Prep.
Welcome to the Hawks' fifth quarter post-game show live here at Franklin Field. Your St. Joe's Prep Hawks fall just short of victory. 34-26 victory for the St. Francis Academy Panthers. You know, guys, we saw the best of both worlds you could have seen in the last two quarters of the game. Obviously, St. Joe's performed a bit less than expectation was the first half, most people would say. Second quarter, immediately picked that up and made it one heck of a game to watch. I'll turn it over to Mark Jamison next to me. Mark, just recap the second half and how incredible it was.
I agree with you. Second half was incredible. Jet Harrison had another 2 touchdowns in the second half to match the first half. The Prep had a lot of momentum after the third quarter because St. Francis came out of the first half strong, but St. Joe's, they countered it. And the last defensive drive for the Prep before, with like 4 minutes left to go, they had an incredible drive. And I think that they just played really good, but they fell just short.
Yeah, I mean, couldn't sum it up better. Obviously, did fall off short, but, think of drives. I was on play tracker for the game. St. Joe's only had one more drive than St. Francis. It wasn't much of a difference, but obviously it was enough of a difference to result in an unfortunate loss, where St. Joe's will drop to 0-3 on the season. Obviously, they'll be back here next week again, so they'll have that exposure, but I'm turning over to A.J. Farrington, back at it again. A.J., obviously, it was Jet Harrison for the game, but talk about how this defense really responded.
I mean, I think the defense. You're speaking about the St. Francis defense, correct? Yes. I mean, in terms of the X's and O's, right? I mean, they saw the dominance from Jet Harrison. They tried to double him. I mean, let's be honest. It didn't really matter that much, did it? I mean, he was still making some great plays. The second half specifically, even more so the fourth quarter than the third, but really the second half as a whole, it was very, very, I mean, it was almost perfect, honestly, from this St. Joseph's Prep's offense. Really, like, especially in that fourth, I don't think they made a mistake. I mean, it was I don't even really have any words for it, to be honest with you, Dominic. I mean, it's a really unfortunate. Turnovers earlier kind of haunted them a little bit. But I don't think there was really much else they could have done, especially if you're looking at that second half as a whole. Like, there wasn't much else to do. I would say the running game wasn't a big factor today by any means, but that's got to be a byproduct, at least a little bit, of this defensive line for St. Francis, who played phenomenally. Up front, they were very impressive. They did a great job, getting to the quarterback and making it frustrating for Charlie. But if he was able to get the ball out on time, no one was able to cover Jet Harrison one-on-one, and I think that's where talent comes in, and he just out-talented everyone else around there.
Yeah, AJ, I mean, obviously, if you're the best receiver in the state, you're going to have that much level of talent. Obviously, going up against such a dominant team right now, Zion Ely, who we have Anthony Sorgi interviewing right now. He also has Jerry Edwards, who had those 2 interceptions. In my opinion, Leggery was the player of the game. Punt returns, everything you could have thought of, touchdowns. He was by far 2 steps ahead of the defenders of St. Joe's, and that's what I think resulted in the score. I will say, though, I don't know what you guys think. I'll turn to her in a second. My biggest concern for the Hawks after this performance was if it's Jet Harrison, that's it, because he was the only guy. He was the main guy that really turned it over when Charlie was in desperation. So, 4 touchdowns by him, that was probably a record that he'll never break ever again because, they needed him that much. But, yeah, I'm going to turn over to Mark real quick. Mark, obviously, not Mark. Jesus. Mark Jameson. All right, I almost forgot what I was saying there for a second. But, yeah, Mark, so just recap. What do you think about the St. Joe's team? Has it turned heads? Is there a change in pace? What should we expect rest of the season?
I think we can expect some big performances, obviously. So I think Jet Harrison did do really good today. Obviously, 4 touchdowns, 202 yards. I think we just have to look out more for the run game because the run game wasn't as much as a factor in the game today. But we saw flashes of dominance from Charlie Folk and from Jet Harrison.
Yeah, talk about that response. Charlie Folk, O-line collapses. He was able to make something out of it. I'm going to turn that over to AJ, that question. The O-line was a factor in this game, but Charlie seemed to respond pretty well now.
Yeah, I think he did a really good job at just kind of creating something out of nothing. I mean, on multiple occasions, we saw him just get out of the pocket and try and make things happen, try and extend plays. Now, that doesn't always work, right? We saw a couple times could have had a scramble. I think it was on a, I want to say it was on a 3rd down. He had some green grass ahead of him, but so much speed on that defensive line caught up to him. But I think he did a really good job at just trying to extend plays as much as possible and wait, you know, for today at least, his big guy Jet Harrison to create some separation downfield.
Yeah, I mean, Jet Harrison, obviously, just incredible performance, obviously. He couldn't put it into words, you know. It was a performance you might not get to see for a long time, long time, but much needed in this game. Obviously, 2 Titans going at it, and it ends down in the favor of St. Joe's Prep, unfortunately, but that's all there is here, folks. But I will say we'll be back next week here at Franklin Field. St. Joe's Prep takes on the Good Counsel Falcons out of Maryland once again. So will Maryland keep on haunting Pennsylvania, or will the Hawks finally find their first win of the season after going 0-3? More coming up soon next week. Obviously, I'm Don Campanaro, Mark Jameson, AJ Farrington on my side. I mean, a lot of people to thank. Mr. Abington, Mr. Burns. A lot of people. I mean, I can't put into words. Got Kariah over there, Dom Schalk, Ryan Sullivan. So many people are shouting over there. You know, incredible performance by everyone here at WCP on such a great night. Great football, probably the best we've seen in a while. But that will do it. We'll see you on probably one of the many games we commentate here on WCP. And for that, good night and go Prep.